Saw, and we have Red McNoll up against Severin Bühler. But we do have a flag on the play, and there will be a review in the competition control center.
All right, long discussion, but both cuts are good.
So with both cuts being good, Severin Bühler with 12 seconds on that cut will be the winner of that heat. And now we're moving on to Armin Kugler up against Pierre Puy-Barré. Puy-Barré is the faster of the two men with an 11.92, gaining some points for France. No time to rest for these guys as we jump straight into the standing block chop, and there you have Koen Martens going up against Pierre Puy-Barré. This was an incredibly close heat between these two veterans, with both of them blocking at more or less the same time. It might have come down to video control, but there was a DQ for Pierre Puy-Barré for wrenching. Meanwhile, Armin Kugler and Mika Dubicki going at it with each other, and Armin Kugler with a 19.92 and a season's best there as well. Fantastic job by the Austrian. So the overall standings after three disciplines, Danny Martin from Germany atop with 27 points. Mika Dubicki not that far behind with 23, tied for points with Armin Kugler, who is sitting in third place. Current overall leader here, Danny Martin up against Mika Dubicki, who is the stronger of the two and gets a personal best. Both of them do, in fact, with some great times in that single buck. And we move on to Lars Seibert going up against Ferry Swan. Ferry Swan is quick, but not as quick as Lars Seibert, who gets a personal best. And the action continues with Pierre Puy-Barré going up against Guillaume Moore. Two Frenchmen battling head-to-head here. And it's Pierre Puy-Barré. Wow, the personal bests are dropping like flies here. So great action so far, and we move on to Springboard. Top two guys in the ranking going against each other here. Mika Dubicki against Danny Martin. A couple of big boys up on those second boards, a good 2 meters above the ground. And it is Mika Dubicki with a time of 106.08 who gets the better of the two. Pierre Puy-Barré and Guillaume Moore one more time, two Frenchmen against each other. And it is Pierre Puy-Barré a good 32 seconds ahead of Guillaume Moore. And finally in the Springboard, Koen Martens against Armin Kugler. Koen Martens was struggling on that one, and Armin Kugler gets a 101 and change. So looking at the overall standings, a bit of a change here with Pierre Puy-Barré taking over the top spot, Kugler in second, and Dubicki in third. Now on to the hot saw. Ferry Swan going up against Lars Seibert in this first heat of the hot saw, and Ferry Swan makes a bit of a mistake on the upcut, gets a second cookie done, and the third one is down, still faster than Lars Seibert with a 7:31 to a 9:08. Then we have Danny Martin going up against Mika Dubicki. Danny Martin looking very good. That second cookie is solid. The third one is good. He's got a 6:28 to Mika Dubicki's 7:84, and he is pumped. So in the individual ranking, Mika Dubicki from Poland wins despite a tie in points, and he wins thanks to faster overall times over all of the 6 disciplines, just ahead of Danny Martin from Germany. So for the first time, the European Nations Cup has a winner. Poland has the best combination of rookies and pros and wins just ahead of Germany and France, taking silver and bronze respectively.
Oh yeah, how about that? Troy, I know you really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I mean, Poland really backed up Mika Dubicki's trophy win from before with the Nations Cup win. I mean, their rookies and pros working together to gain those points. Top of the podium for Poland on the Nations Cup competition. And they had a rookie world record there in the single buck from Simon Grunwald, who was just fantastic. I mean, these young guys, the future coming up, dropping world records already. And I mean, this season has been a season of insanity where world records are concerned. I think we've never seen so many world records broken as we have this season, Floaty.
Oh, wow. Let's take a closer look at all the records right now.
(2021), a year with numerous timber sports world records. In June, 21-year-old Edvin Karlsson impressed with a new rookie world record on the stock saw. At the Rookie European Championships in Munich, Maciej Klima from the Czech Republic is extremely rhythmic and clean on the single buck. The result? Another rookie world record with 13.51 seconds. A young Swiss man is also attracting attention in the rookie division. Oliver Reinhardt finished the new rookie discipline Springboard in 48.52 seconds. No rookie has been faster so far. Simon Grunwald from Poland thinks whatever Maciej Klimek can do, he can do it better. That's right. A new world record on the single buck set once again at 12.28 seconds. In the meantime, Pontus Sky and his 9.14 seconds were in for the new pro world record on stock saw in June. The Swedes are on a roll in 2021. Ferry Swan really lets the single buck fly. A fabulous 12.01 seconds means, of course, a new world record. And then there's also Robert Ebner from Germany. In Gelsenkirchen, the world record is set on the hot saw. The new world record now stands at 4.87 seconds. Ebner is the first athlete to get under 5 seconds.
Das gibt es ja gar nicht, Robert Ebner den Weltrekord! Ich wollte das Ding heimbringen, ich wollte Weltrekord schneiden. Und ich danke meiner Familie zu Hause, die hier jetzt bestimmt vor dem Fernseher sitzen, die mir jeden Tag Kraft geben. Und alle, die mich unterstützt haben.
Ole Magnus Siljeberget from Norway stepped up his game at the stock saw in August. The clock stopped at 8.51 seconds. No one has ever been faster in this discipline.
Records, 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 and so many emotions. Robert Ebner, oh, he was close to tears, and so was Troy when you were watching that live. I remember.
Yeah, I think I shed a few tears when Robert Ebner broke the world record. We thought that thing was going to stand forever. The funny part is we ended our clip there with Ole Magnus Siljeberget, who broke the world record in stock saw. That's the second time that particular world record has been broken this season. Pontus Sky got it at the beginning of the season or in the middle of the summer, and Ole Magnus Siljeberget took that one down. And he stood there and he was a little bit surprised. I got a world record? Huh?
Why not? I'll take it.
And then we saw the emotion of Robert Ebner. Absolutely fantastic moment for him and his family and his fans, obviously. And we will be seeing Robert Ebner at the World Championships as well.
Absolutely. 12 athletes altogether going for the individual World Championship trophy. And that's going to be a big one on the 2nd of October.
Yeah, 10 athletes from Europe. We got the top-ranked athletes from around Europe, as well as 2 North American athletes, which we alluded to at the beginning of our show here today, one from Canada and one from the USA. And it should be a fantastic competition. I mean, we're going to have some absolutely amazing guys there. Mika Dubicki, as you know, has been on a tear this year, but he's going to have to face up against Jason Lentz at least once in this competition, who we know from the USA Championships is very, very strong.
Well, let's take a closer look at the favorites for the individual World Championships on the 2nd of October.
The highlight of the 2021 Timbersports International season is coming up, the individual World Championship. Ferry Swan has experienced extreme development over the past few years. After winning the rookie championship title in 2017, he now finally wants to strike at the pro level.
For Ferry Swan.
From a European perspective, Poland's Mika Dubicki is probably one of the hottest tips for the medal. He came in 6th in the World Championships in 2019, but has been on a tear since. Whoever wins the US Championship is automatically considered one of the top contenders for the title. Returning home without a medal would be a disappointment for Jason Lentz.
Really good for Jason Lentz. He's sitting in a great position.
Marcel Dupuis has been one of the best Canadians since 2008. In the team event, he's already won several medals at the World Championships. As an individual athlete, he's still working towards it. Maybe this year is his time to shine. Robert Ebner will be competing for Germany. His performance at the German Championships has made him a contender for a medal at the World Championships. His world record in the hot saw impressed people around the globe. Martin Komarek has snatched first place in the 2021 European ranking, leaving the other top contenders behind. Can the multiple medalist now finally win World Championship gold?
Oh my word. Your guess is as good as mine or as good as Troy's guess. Who's going to win the individual world championship?
Oh, that's a tough call. I mean, with so many fantastic athletes, it's anybody's guess, like you said. If I had to personally choose, I would love to see Martin Komarek take the world championship title. Such a great guy, such a great athlete. He's been around the sport forever, so consistent. But reality is the way it is, and we know that Mika Dubicki has been on an absolute tear this year. He's solid, he's strong, he's motivated, and you've seen that he and his countrymates from Poland have won 2 major competitions this year. As well, we have Jason Lentz from the USA. I mean, this guy is good in all of the different disciplines, so it's really anybody's guess. I mean, juggle him up in the air and see who lands on the podium, and that's how it's probably going to work, because this competition is going to be insane.
Absolutely. Everything and anything is possible. Stay with us and see it live on The Zone.
This is it. This is the big moment we've all been waiting for. The grande finale to a fantastic STIHL Timbersports season 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championships live from the Motor World in Munich. And by my side, as always, the man, the myth, the voice, Troy Mannering. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much, Marcus. I'm looking forward to this competition here tonight because, I mean, we were just looking at the review just now and the list of athletes. I mean, I had my favorites, I had my picks, but man, it is going to be wild tonight. So I think we're going to have a really good time here at the Motor World in Munich. And I mean, the stage is set behind us, and I can't wait to get this thing going. The first heats are coming up.
Fantastic athletes competing for gold. Wow.
Yeah, wow is right. I mean, you saw the list of the European athletes. We have 2 North American athletes. And like we said in the pre-show earlier on, you know, you throw any of these guys up in the air and you've got a potential winner. but they got to get out on stage. And this is the time where they need to peak. This is the time where they need to be at their absolute highest performance level. And you know they're going to be ready to go. There's a lot of motivated athletes here today. And that position of being on top of that podium as the individual world champion is the pinnacle of the sport for these guys. So there's a lot at stake for them here tonight.
Big shout out, of course, to the champs from New Zealand and, of course, Australia. Shame you can't be with us, but hopefully we'll see you in 2022. And there is a fantastic trophy that can be won tonight. And our field reporter, Lisa, is on her way to that trophy at this very moment. Lisa, over to you.
Hi, Marker. Thanks. I'm right now on the ramp where all the athletes will make their way onto the stage. And I already see the trophy. I mean, look at it. What a handmade beauty. I just can't believe it. Actually, it was designed by in Austria by Robert Pieringer, which makes me so proud since I'm from Austria as well. But today, at the World Championship 2021 in Germany, Munich, at the Motor World Kesselhaus, which is, by the way, also a great event location, there will be 12 athletes, incredible athletes, who will be giving their best in order to take home this amazing trophy. And I'm so excited, I'm shaking, and I would say, just let's start.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear. Let's start the competition. And of course, let's take a closer look at these athletes, the 12 men that are going for gold tonight. The national championships. You have the national champions, the top 10 of the European ranking are here. And like you said, the two seeded champions from the USA and Canada. Woo!
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a list right off the bat. You know, we talked about a lot of these athletes right out of the gate, and you're going to see some really quick times. Now, as we've seen, there's been a lot of world championship or world records that have fallen this year. Will we have that today at the World Championships? Big question.
So now that we know how this all works out and why these 12 athletes are here, let's take a closer look at the athletes themselves. So here they are. I hope.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, Elgin Pugh. Anything you want to add to this man, Troy?
Well, I mean, he's the 6-time Great Britain champion, you know, representing Great Britain, obviously, and also representing his home of Wales. The guy is fantastic. You know, you like to see these guys having a really good season. Unfortunately for Great Britain, it wasn't the strongest season because they had so many restrictions up there that they didn't have a chance to really train and compete the way that they normally would. So the fact that he has won the Great Britain Championship again and is representing again is just testament to his skill level and his motivation to be here.
And I've got him on my list because I've seen him perform in Switzerland. I think there's a lot for him to be shown at this competition, just like Severin Bühler.
Yeah, I mean, Severin Bühler, he beat out his mentor, Christoph Geisler, at the Swiss Championships where you were. You saw some great representations there across the board from the Swiss athletes, but this is the time for Severin Bühler to really step into his own, and maybe he's the next guy to really surprise us up on the stage there, although he does have a few soft spots he needs to work on.
And it's his first individual world championship. It's not the first for Armin Kugler, the big man from Austria.
Well, no, I mean, if you look at his list of achievements there, he's been all over the map with the number of events that he's done nationally and internationally. He's got a ton of experience on the international level. He's been at the World Championships numerous times. He's a big man, he's strong, he's motivated, and he's focused. And the look on his face doesn't really belie the child's heart that's in behind him. And you could say the same for this man right here, Pierre Puy-Barret.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, another guy who's a bit of a jokester behind the scenes, but he's all business on stage. And you could see, you know, he's 5th place at the Individual World Championships 2015, 6th in 2016, silver medalist at the European Trophy trophy in 2021. So he's definitely got the pedigree, and he's one of those guys that I wouldn't call a dark horse here, but he's a guy that can really make waves. Now, Ferry Swan, he's a guy that you like a lot.
Yeah, definitely. For me, he's one of the favorites. You know, he's got the whole package.
Yep.
He's still very young, but he's so focused, and I think he's one of those guys that you talked about that can peak at the right time. So I've definitely got him on my list.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of help with peaking at the right time from his mom, who they do a lot of video and training checks to make sure that he's really on point with all of his stuff. But the thing is that Ferry Swan is one of the new generation of athletes where you're not seeing these monster dudes come up on stage anymore. He has power to spare, but he's a thin, slight guy. You wouldn't know it to look at him when he's walking down the street that he can chop a block off in no time flat, and he holds now the single buck world record. So that's fantastic for Sweden.
Koen Martens, I mean, what a guy. Love this man.
Yeah, he came into the studio a couple of times and we were chatting with him, and he talked about some of his, let's call it, rituals in between the heats that he tends to run into. I don't know if that helps him or hinders him here, but Koen Martens is definitely a great athlete. We're going to keep a close eye on him because he's had a lot of luck this season with how he's gotten to this position here.
Jason Lenz. Now, you would have to say he is probably the favorite.
Yeah, definitely among the top 3 to 4 guys here for sure. I mean, he's a third-generation Timbersports athlete. His dad's a legend back in the USA. He's basically got it all across the board, and he's the only other guy this season, I believe, to have a hot saw under 5 seconds. He came very close to the world record.
Oh, another one of our favorites.
One of our favorites.
Martin Komarek.
He always seems to have such fantastic events. Then he gets to the hot saw, and then he has a problem with the hot saw.
Don't say it. I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to jinx him, so we're going to shake some what's that stuff you burn in your house? Sage. You know, we're going to shake some sage and move it around the stage here. So hopefully his hot saw runs and he has a good season, because he has been solid this year.
And what about this man, Marcel Dupuis from Canada?
Well, what do you got to say about the Canadians, eh? I mean, that's just my personal pride running on high octane here. Marcel Dupuis, he's been many times a medalist with the team competition, as you heard earlier on. The one thing that's sort of missing on his mantle is that individual world championship trophy, so you know he'll be motivated this year to take it down.
And of course, the man with the name, Andrea Rossi. I just love to say that name. No, it's brilliant.
Yeah, the pronunciation is fun. Andrea Rossi. Yeah? He is a big man. He is one of the most fit athletes you're going to see on this stage today.
Absolutely.
He loves all those adventure sports outside and cross-training, and he's going to be a tough one to beat.
Talk about cross-training.
Yeah. Speaking of tough one to beat, I mean, Mikael Dubicki, now I have to apologize. I've been pronouncing his name wrong for about 10 years. So it's Mikael Dubicki. I sat outside for a little bit. He came by, said hi, and
you still
I said, "Are you ready
hand?
to go?" And I'm still trying to find where my hand is. He has massive, massive hands, so strong. And, of course, you know, what can you say about Robert Ebner? He is the guy that everybody in Germany is keeping a close eye on in this one. He broke the hot saw world record. He was super emotional about it, so he has to be one of the favorites. If he can get to that hot saw part of the competition, then he'll definitely be a guy that everybody's going to kind of go, you know, I have to battle with this guy.
Absolutely. And what these 12 guys have to do, well, we'll show you in the clip that's coming up right now. Here is the competition format.
The STIHL Timbersports individual competition. In the first round, all athletes compete in 3 disciplines: the underhand chop, the stock saw, and the standing block chop. The times achieved will be converted into points upon completion of each discipline. In round 1, a difference of 1 point applies in each discipline, thus the fastest athlete received 12 points and the slowest only 1 point. Any rule infraction will result in a disqualification, and the athlete will receive 0 points for that discipline. At the end of the first round, the athletes with the lowest scores are eliminated. Only 8 athletes make it to the second round. In this second round, the remaining athletes compete in the single buck and the springboard for increased scores. With 2 points difference between placings, the fastest athlete now receives 16 points and the slowest receives 2. The 2 athletes with the lowest total points are eliminated at the end of round 2. Only the top 6 reach the third round.
In the third round, anything is still possible in the hot saw, as an increased score interval of 3 points applies in this final round. The fastest athlete can score up to 18 points at the hot saw, the slowest only 3 points. The athlete who manages to achieve the highest total score across all 3 rounds is the new champion.
Well, I don't think we've been much closer to the stage than we are tonight ever before, have we?
It's been a long time since we've been that close to the stage. I mean, we've been in the Munich studio for so long, it almost feels foreign for us to be on site at the event location. But it is fantastic to be here. We'll get to have the guys right behind us here on the main stage, and our little studio is a little bit soundproof, but once that hot saw is rocking and rolling, I don't think we're going to be able to hear anything in here, so that's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
And of course, we're going to start off with the first discipline, the underhand chop, and all you need to know about this discipline, well, it's coming up right now.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. Underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut through a 32 centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides.
So we are ready to go, and here is the starting order for the underhand chop. Elgin Pugh against Severin Bühler, that's Heat 1. In Heat 2, Armin Kugler will take on Pierre Pugh-Barré. Heat 3, Ferry Swan against Koen Martins. Heat 4, Jason Lenz, Martin Komarek. In Heat 5, we'll see Marcel Depuy and Andrea Rossi. And in Heat 6, it will be Michal Dubicki against Robert Ebner.
All right, guys, coming out onto the stage now, and right away, you know, Severin Bühler has a little bit of a disadvantage because this discipline, for him, his best time is 31:06, where Elgin Pugh has a best time of 22:27. The world record still stands since 2015 at 12.39 seconds, held by Braden Meyer, who absolutely blew everybody's minds.
Athletes, ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, and the guys get into it right away. Elgin Pugh right up close to you. Red shirt is Severin Bühler on the far side of the stage from this vantage point here. And straight away, Elgin Pugh gets around to the other side with a spry little hop. And that's not bad for a man that is coming along in his age. No, I'm just teasing. He is still in fantastic shape, but Severin Bühler is doing a great job to try and catch up. But it is going to be Elgin Pugh in 22:23, and that's a personal best by a few hundredths of a second. And Severin Bühler still trying to get through, and he does in 32:76. So a bit of a struggle for Severin Bühler, not getting his personal best there, but it is an improvement for Elgin Pugh, which we always like to see.
I told you, he is in great shape.
He's in fantastic shape. And what I love about this particular situation for Elgin is that is going to give him not only the fact that he won this heat, but he's got the personal best time.
Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, we'll let Andy do his job there. And is that it's going to give him that mental confidence, that headspace to maybe take it a little bit heavier into the next rounds and the next discipline. So let's see how that works out for him as we move along, and we'll take a look at the slow-mos here. Severin Bühler has got some great slabs coming out, those big chips. His aim is just really on point. But if you look at Elgin Pugh's, the number of times that his axe hits in between each of the strokes from Severin Bühler, he's just got a quicker axe head, but the accuracy is there along with the power. And that's something that these guys absolutely need to have. They have to have that power and the accuracy and the speed, but you have to be able to balance between the power and not putting too much into it so that axe doesn't stick. And there's a beautiful split from Elgin Pugh from Wales. Nice job.
so in the underhand chop, I mean, with our first heat, there you see Elgin Pugh with a personal best 21.99. Now, the times that we see initially on the stage are always unofficial until one of our stage judges gives us the thumbs up and it's been adjusted from their competition control center. Next up in the underhand chop, we have Armin Kugler from Austria going up against the Frenchman Pierre Puy-Barré.
Oh, wow, 150 Ks against 110 Ks.
Yeah, and both of these guys have personal best times that are under 20, pretty close to each other. It's Armin Kugler who is slightly slower in this case than Pierre Puy-Barré in this particular discipline. Pierre Puy-Barré, he is just a real good underhand chop guy, so let's see if these two can hammer it down and make this competition really fun between the two of them.
Oh, and I can feel the vibrations of the music in our studio.
It's awesome. Finally.
Athletes, ready! Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
And bang, we're into it right away. Oh, a big stick by Pierre Puy-Barré. He's not going to like that. That's happened twice now to him, and that's what I was talking about earlier. It's trying to find the combination between that power and the accuracy and not getting too much into it so that you get that axe stuck, because it really kills your timing and it kills your energy as well. Pierre Puy-Barré working hard and trying to get caught up, but he doesn't do it. And it's Armin Kugler with a 21.04 and Pierre Puy-Barré with a 25.88. So there's no melons underneath these guys at the moment. That wood looks like it's going to need a little bit of extra work. Now, I thought maybe with the season we've had, we might drop a few world records here today, but after these first couple of blocks by these guys, I don't know about that.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Oh, I see some emotion from Armin because he was just, getting his axe job done, best time of the day so far, and off I go. But looks like he's motivated.
So let's see what happens here. So Armin Kugler makes a really good switch around. I mean, he didn't hop it or anything like that, so no nicknaming them a cat on this one. But he was about a stroke and a half ahead of Pierre Puy-Barré as Puy-Barré came around, and it looked like Puy-Barré might catch up, but there was just this last couple of strokes on the far side there. You can't see it from here, but Armin Kugler with a clean cut through, and you can see the axe just slip and that block's dropping down, and there you go. That's the time done for Armin Kugler. So we've got our fastest time of the day with a 20.82 for Armin Kugler. That puts him on top of the underhand chop standings for the moment. And because it's our first discipline, obviously, he will hold out the top spot in the overall standings for the moment as well.
So there we have it. For the moment, it's Kugler before Puy-Barré and Bühler. But of course, that's only 4 of 12 that we've seen so far. Woo!
All right, so there you see Ferry Swan on the left-hand side. Look at the size difference between these two guys. Not massive, but, these are two of the guys that I was talking about. Ferry Swan, the younger generation. Koen Martin's a little bit older than Ferry Swan. And both of them, though, are fairly slight guys when you compare them to some of the bigger boys out there, and they are just absolutely fit. And we say this a lot, it's about that core strength when you're swinging the axe or, moving that single buck back and forth. And both of these guys are absolute beasts when it comes to the core strength, particularly Ferry Swan.
Athletes, ready! Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So keep a close eye on how quickly these guys are using the axe. Ferry Swan has gotten into it right away. He's got hits after hits after hits.
Woo.
Yeah, but look at Koen Martens. He's not that slow either. He gets around to the other side first, and he is also moving that axe quickly, which is something I really like to see. Now, this is going to be a tight race, and it's Koen Martens. He does it in a personal best 18:38, and Ferry Swan in 19:55.
Look at the shake of his head. He can't believe it himself.
Oh, fantastic by Koen Martens. That is just amazing. And again, love to see that because it's a personal best, and that's that headspace that these guys can take into the next heats and the next discipline. So that is fantastic.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Well, he got his mindset together, Koen
Yes, he did. Well, I don't know if he went out back and puked like he said he was going to do, but maybe it's working for him if he did. I don't know. But that was a fantastic underhand chop by Koen Martens. Great job. And he takes over the top spot in the standings with an under 20
Ferry Swan right there behind him with a 1940. And there you can even see Kieran Martin's got that axe caught quite significantly. Got it out, took an extra stroke, and then turned around. One stroke ahead of Ferry Swan. So, I mean, really, it was that one stroke difference between these two guys, and it really shows in the time that they have as well. They're really close together. So 2 personal bests already by the wayside with 2 guys that we really like to see these personal bests come from, Elgin Pugh and Kieran Martins.
What a start into these individual world championships here in Munich.
Absolutely fantastic.
No, look at the face, look at the face.
I don't know if that was, I don't believe I did that, or if that was, I'm trying to relax now. But there you go, Kieran Martin's on the top of the underhand chop standings with an 18-16.
Awesome. Oh, wow, that's another big, big duel in the underhand chop.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one to watch. Jason Lentz, the U.S. national champion, going up against Martin Komarek, who is arguably one of the nicest guys in timber sports. Always a smile on his face, always fair. If he makes a mistake, he'll go to the judges and say, whoops, my fault, and he'll get himself disqualified. You know, that's how fair he is.
Brilliant character.
But his personal best time is much faster than Jason Lentz.
Okay, gentlemen, athletes ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Now Jason Lentz getting into this. Jason is definitely stronger when it comes to the standing block chop. On the underhand, he's not as strong, but he's over to the other side quickly. So obviously this is something that he has been working on to make sure that he is on point for this event. Now he's got that axe stuck a couple of times and he's looking pretty good still, but it is, oh my goodness, Martin Komarek and Jason Lentz. Holy smokes, folks, how close is that? And Jason Lentz gets a personal best with 2014. What a great job by the American, right ahead of Martin Komarek. That was a close heat. Oh, wow.
And believe it or not, Kieran Martin stays on top.
On top.
What a crazy start into this competition.
Jason Lentz with his time, now it's unofficial, of 19.98. Martin Komarek with a 20.08. Oh, wait a minute. I think my clock might be set officially now.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Yep, my clock has been officially locked in. So Jason Lentz with a 19.98. He's under 20 seconds. So definitely a good personal best for him. Martin Komarek is a little bit slower than his personal best, but he's currently sitting in 4th place. But look at this. Both of these guys just hammering away on this block. Now you'll see Jason gets his axe caught there, and then one more time as he comes around to the other side. Try and imagine how much faster he would have been without getting that axe stuck.
Oh, yeah.
And there you can see the accuracy and the speed and the power from Martin Komarek.
Unbelievable.
And there's that other stick by Jason Lentz on the other side of the stage. And it's just a couple of strokes more here, and you can see both of these blocks almost going down at the same time. I mean, that was millimeters apart. So, Kieran Martin still holding down the top spot there with an 18-16
That is a
and
bit
a
of a
personal
surprise,
best.
if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, but this is what this competition is all about. Anything can happen and anything will happen. So surprises, we love them. We love them, you know?
Couldn't have a better start into this competition. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic start. And I mean, Jason Lentz, he's got himself a personal best there. What a great job.
Absolutely. And talking about Jason, he's standing with Lisa at this very moment. So let's hear what he has to say.
Thanks, Marcus. I'm here with Jason. Jason, that was incredible. Considering these are the World Championships, are you happy with your performance, personal best?
Yeah, it was a pretty good cut. I had a knot in the center of my log and bent my axe in the front, I believe. And, yeah, I didn't have enough time to change out axes. I had to keep using it. But
anyway, you did an amazing job. First round.
Yeah, it's not too bad. hopefully the time stays near the top.
All right. All the best for the rest of the competition.
Thank you.
All right. And now back to the guys.
Well, thanks very much, Lisa. How cool is that, dude?
Yeah.
Personal best.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, I hope it stays at the top for a while. I mean, dude, that was awesome. Personal best. But that's these guys. They're just all about the competition.
Brilliant.
They just want to improve every step of the way. All right, speaking of another North American dude, Marcel Dupuis going up against Andrea Rossi. Andrea Rossi.
Well said, yeah.
Yep. So as we said off the top of the show, Marcel Dupuis, a really, really strong character, and he is searching for that individual world title still. You can see 6th place at the Individual World Championships in 2015 in Poland. So he's been around for a while. He's got the pedigree. Andrea Rossi, as I mentioned, one of the very, very fit characters out there.
So it's the first time against the routinier.
What?
Well, a guy with a lot of routine.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Wow, power swings by both of these guys getting right into it. Now you can see Marcel Dupuis using those sprinter shoes with the spikes on the bottom, and he was quick to the other side, but Andrea Rossi right here with him. And, a huge stick by Rossi. That's going to cause him problems. And it's going to be, Marcel Dupuis with a 16.67, a personal best for the Canadian. Good job. I got a little bit of Canadian pride going on there. And Andrea Rossi, not that far behind with a 20.85, but unfortunately for Andrea, that time puts him down in 7th place in underhand chop, while Marcel Dupuis unseats Koen Martens at the top.
Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
And now we know why he's wearing those sprinter shoes. Wow.
Yeah. Well, you're going to see this on a couple of occasions. You'll see it by the standing block chop, and you'll also probably see it in a few times with the guys wearing them for the single butt. So you can see that Andrea Rossi doesn't have them. He's got very soft-soled shoes, but you'll also notice the chainmail socks underneath. Now, that's there, obviously, to protect their feet against a cut from these incredibly sharp axes that they're using. It's a requirement that these guys have those chainmail socks on for safety. And yeah, I think the difference here was that right there, that massive stick by Andrea Rossi, and the fact that there was no slippage at all by Marcel Dupuis on his feet. He was just using every aspect of that axe and his feet to get through there quickly. And did he ever, with a time of 16.43 and a personal best.
10 athletes, 4 personal bests already here at the World Championships. Wow.
Now we've got 2 guys that are going to come up and go head-to-head with each other shortly, and that's Mika Dubicki and Robert Ebner. Now, they've held 2 of the stronger European athletes to the end of this heat in this first discipline, and of course, I am really looking forward to seeing how these 2 guys rock and roll against each other. Now, as we know, they're going head-to-head on stage with each other, but it's not about who wins the heat because it's not a knockout system. It's about who gets the fastest time. But knowing that you've got a guy like Robert or like Mika Dubicki on the left or the right of you, that provides some motivation. And you can see Robert Ebner fully focused here.
Looks like he's in the tunnel.
Athletes, ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, huge stick by Mika Dubicki right off the hop, but it's Ebner on the far side in the gray jersey who has got the quick axe going. Another stick by Dubicki, and he switches to the other side first ahead of Ebner. Ebner took a little bit of time there to aim that first hit on the second side, and Dubicki just really rocking and rolling. I think he's going to take this one down as Ebner gets his axe stuck on that one as well now, and there it goes. Dubicki in a 25-21. Ebner struggling on these last hits with a 29.82. Now, neither one of those 2 times are actually very strong for these guys.
They won't be happy with that, no doubt about that.
Both of them are fairly far down the list. So Mika Dubicki at the moment is sitting in 9th, and Robert Ebner in 11th. So they're going to really need to pick up the pace in the next 2 disciplines if they want to step up into the top 8 going into the next round.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Yeah, and you can see it in their faces. They're not happy at all, both of them.
Yeah, you know, we've seen definitely better cuts from these guys. And you never know. I mean, the competition wood that we have here is always really well balanced out and really fair. They don't get handed the wood. They have to take it via a draw system. So it could be, like you heard with Jason Lenz, a knot in the middle of his block. It could be the same situation for both of these guys here. It also makes a difference if that axe gets stuck in there. And that's where you, like I was saying, you have to draw the line between power and precision.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised with Robert Ebner waiting for the first stroke after he switched sides.
Well, it could be that that he had a little bit of an off balance, and that's how good these guys are. You know, they can be ready to go, and if they know they take that swing, they're going to step off the block. What's the better option? Step off the block, or wait, get the balance, and then hit. You know. So yeah, there we go. Underhand chop timing, and Marcel Dupuis and Koen Martens at the top with some really solid times. Only the top 4 guys are under 20 seconds. So good action so far, Marcus. I think I'm enjoying myself a little bit in here.
I'm enjoying myself very much in here at the moment. And these points, of course, are very important that you're collecting in this round one, you know, 3 disciplines. And especially with Robert and Dubicki, you know,
that's
not
a
being
little
happy.
bit surprising. I got to be honest with you. I mean, I had both of these guys as my top picks, among the top picks. But, you know, unfortunately for them, this wasn't their chop. And we're taking a look at the 2 fastest cuts right now between Marcel Dupuis and Koen Martens. Now, these guys, you could see, and the side-by-side, although they weren't in this against each other, they were really close as far as their timing. Koen Martens was just a slight maybe half stroke, full stroke behind Marcel Dupuis. But look how motivated Marcel Dupuis is, and Koen Martens, what a great job. And here comes the head shake.
Well, we're heading to our next discipline, and of course the most important facts of the stock saw are coming up right now, so that you know what's going to be happening in the next few minutes.
The STIHL MS661CM stock saw is used in STIHL Timbersports as the ultimate test of operator skill. Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, it produces approximately 7.3 horsepower, has a displacement of 91.1 cc, and weighs 7.4 kilograms. To ensure evenly and fairly matched saws, professional steel technicians prepare and test the saws before each competition. Stock saw. After the starting shot, the contestants have to cut 2 wooden discs, so-called cookies, within a 10-centimeter mark, 1 downward and 1 upward. The attempt is only valid when both discs have been cut off completely and within the marks.
So we're ready to have some cookies. Heat 1, Armin Kugler versus Koen Martens. In Heat 2, Pierre Dubarret against Elgin Pugh. Heat 3 consisting of Severin Bühler and Andrea Rossi. In Heat 4, Michael Dubicki will take on Marcel Dupuis. In Heat 5, we'll see Jason Lenz take on Martin Komarek. And in Heat 6, Robert Ebner against Ferry Swan.
Now, there is always the opportunity and always a chance that we see a world record drop here. But they're going to have to beat 8.51, which is held by the Norwegian Ole Magnus Hudjebergen. And I only bring that up because I wanted to say his name.
I know, I know.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saws.
All right, so that's a lot of noise out there. Fantastic. We love it. And you can see those foam pads that the guys drop their saws into.
Athletes,
ready. Here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, Armin Kugler in the red on the left-hand side of your stage, and Koen Martens also in the red on the right-hand side of your stage. And Koen Martens has got himself a bit of a slow first cut, and it's going to be Armin Kugler getting this one in 12:04. Koen Martens struggling to get that final upcut of the 14.94. And, oh, yeah, he can see he's not super happy about that. And there might even be a check here. They're going to throw a flag down? No, they're not. So looks like we're all safe. That's good. It seemed like he thought maybe he cut over the line or something.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Kern Martin's clearly not happy with that first, or with his cuts there.
And I think he started off really well, but I'm not sure. We didn't have the camera aside. Maybe we're going to see it now.
Well, you can see here, that's a great start by Armin Kugler. Look how
thin
thin
to win,
that is.
that's what we always say, yeah.
Really, really nice. Bit of an angle heading towards the bottom, but that's no big deal. They've got 10 centimeters. Within that 10 centimeters, they got to cut those two pieces. Now, here's the upcut by... Oh, yeah, he came really close to the line at the top there. And I think he might have been just putting a little bit too much pressure on the blade, which slows the chain down. And that's the technique with this particular discipline. The saw does most of the work. That doesn't mean you can sit there and just let it do the work, though. You actually have to have the right amount of pressure. You have to know the saw a little bit, and you have to have kind of a feel for it. And it could be that, Armin Kugler had a nicer piece of wood. It's anybody's guess. We'll see how the rest of these cuts go on these two sides, because it's the same block in there for all of the guys.
So Kern not too happy with that, of course, but still, he had a smile on his face.
Yeah, and then here we see how the overall standings will switch. Now, here's where, once we get into the second discipline, third discipline, the first round, we start to see these standings change a little bit. So Kern Martens, by default, gets up to the top there because he had the second fastest time in the first discipline. He moves up to the top in the overall, and we move on to heat number 2 with Pierre Puy-Barré.
I'm always a little bit scared when I see the picture of Pierre. I'm sorry, I have to say, he looks very, very focused.
That's the bouncer at the French bar that you don't want to go into, right? And these guys are so practiced with their pick and drop on these things.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your swords.
I mentioned the pad down there. The pad is meant to, say this a lot, just meant to keep those saws from skipping away when they're waiting. Here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, really, it looked like it was a fast start by Elgin Q, but I didn't see it because we switched camera angles. Yep, so Elgin Q's got a nice upcut so far, but it looks like it might be Pierre Puy-Barré getting there. Oh, yeah. 11:51 for Puy-Barré, 12:36 for Elgin Q. Two pretty good times. So remember, 8:51 is the world record, so they're not that far off, but then this is a game of milliseconds.
And of course, we're getting to see the best of the best.
Both cuts are good.
So that moves Pierre Puy-Barré into the top of the stock saw standings. Now, here we see, that was a pretty good start by Elgin Q. I think that first cut by Elgin was better than Puy-Barré's, but on the upcut, and that is the class there, it was Puy-Barré who just had the smoother upcut. And again, it's just about the amount of pressure you're applying. Too much, it's cutting slowly. Too little, it's cutting slowly, So that's the tough draw in the middle to figure out how you're going to cut that nice and clean and fast. All right, so Puy-Barré moves to the top of stock saw. Elgin Q in third place in stock saw. Let's take a look at how that affects the overall standings. And there you go. Kern Martens moves up into the top spot. Kugler, Puy, and Puy-Barré, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And still 8 athletes to come.
Yep.
And of course, on the next team, you can see Severin Bühler and Andrea Rossi. Here they come.
Look at the times on their personal best. How close is that? So interesting here. Now, Severin Bühler, he's strong in the motor saw discipline. So this is a spot where he can pick up the pace a little bit and maybe gain some good points and see if he can get himself up in the ranking a little bit after not the strongest showing in underhand chop.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your swords.
Andrea Rossi wasting no time. Quick, shake check, puts it down and gets ready to go.
Athletes, ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Look at the stance difference between these two guys, and Andrea Rossi with a little slip up at the start there. That leaves it wide open for Severin Bühler, and here you go, the skill of Severin Bühler, really knowing how these saws work, and that is a great time
not bad
for
at
Severin
all.
Bühler. 10:71, fastest so far in stock saw. That puts him atop the stock saw rankings, and that's what I was talking about. If that time holds, then he can get back into the mix after not a strong performance in underhand chop. And, okay, we've got a nod from Dr. Jörg Kurzenberger. So it looks like cuts are good.
Okay,
Let's see.
congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Andy Hall confirms, so both cuts are good. There was a quick
Well done,
review on
gentlemen.
stand B. Yeah, well done, gentlemen. Both cuts are good. I love it. And there comes the pit crew coming out onto the stage. You can see in the background Mika Dubicki getting ready to come out on stage for his heat. Now watch what happens here with Andrea Rossi. Reaches down, gets up quickly, and then he just clips the top of that block. Now, I'm pretty sure that that's what they were checking because he clipped the top of the block. They want to make sure that they have a complete cookie, and that is a problem. If you clip enough of that cookie off, then that is a disqualification, but they deemed it fair, and that's a good thing because he will have a time. A DQ, unfortunately, will make it no time. So,
And that means no points.
no points, exactly. So Severin Bühler, though, redeeming himself in stock saw very well.
And of course, we've seen the first personal best in the stock saw, so congratulations to Switzerland.
Yeah, always, always, always love to see those personal best drop as well.
Yeah, that of course means that, you know, you've showed your best performance on the day, and these are the individual world championships.
And this
so
is the time to do it if you're going to do it at all.
When you want to, that's the time you want to do it.
Yep. So Severin Bühler moves to the top of the standing in stock saw. It's not going to make a massive dent in his overall standings, so you can see he's now moved up into 6th place, but that is a significant jump from 12th. So he's in a solid position at the moment, but we got a couple of guys coming out that are also really strong.
And like you said,
here
it keeps him
this
in the
discipline.
mix.
Yeah. I think Marcel Dupuis probably puts a ton of pressure on himself in order to perform well at these events. You know, I mean, all of these guys do, and some of the guys manage that pressure, and some of the guys not so strong with it. You know, there's a lot of mental coaching that goes on with these events as well. So you could see guys like Robert Ebner, eyes closed, breathing deeply. So that's what these guys are doing a lot to make sure they're mentally strong for these events.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, yes. Great start by both the guys. I don't know if that's Dupuis or Dubicki. Oh, a little bit of a hop there on the upcut by Dupuis, I believe. And it's Dubicki with an 11.91 and Dupuis with a 12.17. So 2 fast times right out of the gate here in stock saw. And I think these guys should
end up in 3rd and 6th, if I'm not wrong.
Overall, yeah. I mean,
no, in the stock saw,
So I'm looking here at the stock saw results. Marcel Dupuis in 5th and Mika Dubicki in 3rd, but we've got a review there because of a broken cookie. It has to be complete. Even if the chip has broken off, the cookie has to be complete. So from my perspective here,
should be all right.
It looks like there's a bit of a cutout, so that may cost Dupuis. I hope not, but that's the discussion that Andy Hall and Jörg Kurzenberger are having right at the moment to see if they can find that missing piece. And you could see how thin that cookie was by Marcel.
So everybody's going to look for that missing piece of wood.
Yeah. The question is, where's it gone? Because that saw blade, now they're digging through the sawdust to try and find it, because that saw blade could kick it around anywhere on stage, and that's the big discussion here. So will it be a DQ or will they deem it fair? And that's the tough position that right now that Marcel Dupuis is in.
Unfortunately, we have a disqualification for an incomplete disc.
That's unlucky.
However, this cut is good.
That is a sour apple right there for Marcel Dupuis. And that means no points in stock saw for the Canadian. Let's see what happened here. So this is Mika Dubicki. He had a really nice thin start on that cut. Would love to get a shot of Marcel Dupuy's cut so that we can maybe see what it is that happened over there. But Mika Dubicki always solid. Let's see here.
And this is how close it is, you know. If he would have made that a complete cookie, he would have been on top of the pack.
So that first cut, it looks like he was solid on the first one. It's the second cut that's the issue here. And he came in really, really thin at the bottom and angled it towards the line near the top. And when the cookie dropped down, I think is when that piece broke off. And he looked at it really quickly. He probably knew himself that, oops, I might have a problem there. But
I actually didn't see it, to be honest.
It's a tough one to see from that angle because the camera didn't really get underneath that shot on his upcut, but it was a really thin upcut, and that's where the drama happened. So right now, Dubicki is sitting in third, and Dupuy, unfortunately, he's sitting in last place here.
For the cookie on stand B.
And now we've just heard there's an appeal. So this is also part of the rule book. The athlete can go and make an appeal if they feel like the call on the stage at the time of competition was incorrect. They can go back and they'll look at their video in Competition Control Center. So this is a really big deal for these guys because now there's a chance that Marcel Dupuy could get his points actually reinstated. So we'll see.
And it is so close together because now he would be in 8th position overall. If that's a complete cookie, he's on top of the pack.
Yep.
And to be honest, I think he had 2 complete cookies. I didn't see that missing piece. I think that dropped out when it fell down.
Well, this is the thing that they have these really high-speed cameras. So you can see the video that the guys are looking at, and they're keeping a really close eye on this second cut. Now, here it is right there. Unfortunately, that first cookie hops a little bit, so it blocks the view of the second cut. But you're right, it doesn't look like the cutaway happens because of the saw. It looks like the cutaway might have happened, or it could be due to it dropping on the floor, and maybe that piece just went flying away. So it's a tough call for these guys because you can see that first cookie hopping right in front of the view that they actually need.
But how good is it to have all those cameras and all the technology to make sure that these decisions are as precise as they are?
Yeah. So, I mean, it is really probably one of the most fair ways to take a look at this competition, and Marcel Dupuy absolutely has the right to appeal that on-stage decision in this situation if he feels like it was not the right call. And the judges will go and look at it like they're doing right now, and if they believe that they also made a mistake, they're the first ones to admit it and give these guys a pass.
No doubt about that, yeah.
Okay, go with that.
It's all about just
all right,
making
so
a
it
fair
looks like
and right
we're going to
decision.
have our decision from the judges now. So let's see if that appeal has actually brought Marcel Dupuy any love.
So let's find out what Andy has to say.
Okay, after having reviewed the video, we've decided it's an incomplete disc. The saw slightly cut out on the upcut.
That's a bummer, okay. But I mean, he made the appeal. That's his right. The judges looked at it.
And that's brilliant. That just makes sure that we have the fairest competition for all of our athletes.
Yeah, and I mean, it is the World Championship. Sorry, you have to say something if you believe, right? All right, stock saw number 5, heat number 5 between Jason Lentz and Martin Komarek. Seems like these guys are destined to be battling each other all night long. So underhand chop was between these two guys, and now so is stock saw. Now, I got to say, both of these guys really solid in the stock saw. It's anybody's guess how this one is going to break down. If we look at Martin Komarek, again, slightly faster than Jason Lentz in this discipline. However, we saw in the earlier one he was faster on paper than Jason Lentz, but Jason Lentz beat him. So let's see.
And we still haven't seen the time under 10 seconds.
Correct.
So maybe now we're in for something new.
Well, Komarek's personal best is 9.86. So
okay, gentlemen. Warm up your saws.
And of course, let's not forget in Heat 6, we've got Robert Ebner and Ferry Swan still to come.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll get that time under 10 seconds.
Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Wow, great start by both of them. Komarek was slightly faster on the block. And the transition by Komarek was fantastic, but Lentz looks quicker. Oh! How close is that? Komarek 11:41, Lenz 11:58, personal best for Lenz. Hey, wow, that was close. I thought Lenz was going to take it down, but Komarek, ooh.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So that's the second and third best time here in the stock saw.
And Martin Komarek continues to impress. Continues to impress. I think he's 49 years old. How old is he?
I don't know.
I'm not really sure.
27,
but he's one of the older guys in the and one of the guys that you just look at and go, wow, absolutely fantastic athlete, through and through, consistent, strong. And here we go with these cuts from these gentlemen. As we take a quick, that's a big fat cookie right there. I believe that's Jason Lenz.
And these two guys are on top of the pack now with 19 points at the moment before we go to that final heat.
Wow, that was a heavy swing down from, he almost wanted to cut it with like it was an axe.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Hey, whatever works, eh? But Martin Komarek has such a great feel for all the different tools that he uses on the stage. The only one that's bit him in the butt a few times is that hot saw, you know?
True.
And there you could see.
Yeah, he must be happy with that.
Yeah, he's got to be happy with that. I mean, he's got the points there. Martin Komarek currently sitting second in the stock saw results with one more heat to go here. Look at the concentration by him there. And I love his ear protectors. On it, it says fight fair. And that's exactly, that's his attitude through and through. He is one of the most fair athletes out there, you know?
Absolutely.
I just keep going back to the Swiss competition. He didn't have his head protection on, and he went to the judges afterwards and said, I forgot my head protection. You have to DQ me. I mean, what? All right, so there you go. Komarek in second, Lenz in third, with Buehler still with a great time of 10:63 on top. Overall standings, hey, look at that. Komarek and Lenz lead the pack with Kern Martin sitting in third place.
One more heat coming up in the stock saw, and that is a absolutely fantastic one. Robert Ebner against Ferry Swan.
Yep. Robert Ebner's been around a little bit longer than Ferry Swan. Both of these guys have personal bests under 10 seconds, as you see there. The difference in the size isn't going to play much of a role here. It's all about their experience and the feel of that saw in their hands. Now, Ferry Swan has been traditionally the better axe man and single bucker, but you know that he's that guy that's going to be looking at these different disciplines and saying, where am I weak? Where can I improve?
Over and over
And he is going to
again.
take that to heart. Now, Robert Ebner used to have that love-hate relationship with these motor saws as far as competition is concerned, because he works with these motor saws all day long in his job. And he has become one of those guys that's incredibly strong with the motorized saws.
Warm up your saws.
Oh, so exciting. So exciting.
Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Super fast start by both of those guys. Ebner was on top of that thing so quickly. And look at this. Ebner, he's going to get up there quick. It's going to be faster. 10:64 to an 11:81. Ebner ahead of Ferry Swan. The times aren't mega fast, but they are strong enough to put Robert Ebner in second place, and Ferry Swan, surprisingly, with a adjusted time of 11:56, slips into sixth place in this discipline.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
All right, now we've seen an adjustment on Robert Ebner's time as well, so his time has actually been reduced down to 10:50. That puts him atop the pack in in stock saw. There's too many S's. Single buck, stock saw, super fast saw, super sharp axe.
Look at him go.
Ferry Swan, really nice start by both of these guys. The only thing is, on the upcut here, it could be that Ferry Swan was leaning into it just a little bit too much, and that's the experience of Robert Ebner playing a role there. He was fast, but Robert Ebner was just a little bit faster. Now, watch the technique that Robert Ebner uses here. He had an arching technique going down, and then at the halfway block, at the halfway point here, he just stopped the back of the saw and used his forward arm to use that wrenching action to get up to the top. So Robert Ebner with a really nice cut. And you're going to see these different techniques in play throughout these different disciplines as well, particularly with the hot saw and with the single bar.
So many different ways of using that saw. Yeah, he's motivated.
He's motivated. I mean, since the German championship, he's been hot to trot. So Robert Ebner moves to the top of the stock saw rankings, just ahead of Severin Bühler. And that means in the overall standings, Ebner jumps up to 4th place. Komarek holding on to the lead with Jason Lenz and Ferry Swan 2nd and 3rd, and there's Ebner in 4th place. So he's in the zone right now.
Oh yeah, and overall points, 18 apiece, and Ferry Swan with 17, and Ferry Swan in 3rd position at the moment, and he's standing right next to Lisa at this very moment. Over to you guys.
All right, thanks, Marcus. I mean, that was amazing. You are so quick. That's just incredible. How did you feel up today?
My underhand was pretty good. I could do it one hit less, but that's okay. And stock saw now, I pushed a little bit too much on the upcut, but I'm happy.
All right, excited for the next competition?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
All right, back to you guys.
Well, thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Ferry. This man always has a smile on his face, doesn't he? Like most of the timber sports athletes.
Yeah,
that we
and
get to see.
this is that mathematical aspect that I was talking about. Yeah, I could have hit one time less, maybe. I mean, these guys know exactly how many times they're hitting the block, and if they need that extra hit or if they don't. And obviously, he realized it a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, these guys they're that on it that they know, okay, one hit less, 2 hits less. So yeah, let's take a look at the side-by-side here in stock saw.
Top 2 athletes in that discipline coming up.
So you could see Robert Ebner and Severin Bühler. Severin Bühler was the nice surprise here with a very quick time.
Oh, and the technique from Robert, that's what you said.
That's what I was talking about here. Robert Ebner held that backhand solid and just used the front hand to pull up on the saw. And that works for him, and that obviously got him the faster time here in the stock saw. So good job by Robert Ebner, just to jump ahead of Severin Bühler. But congratulations to Severin Bühler, a personal best here, and a great way to redeem himself from basically being last in the underhand chop. And now we come to a really difficult discipline, the standing block chop.
Yeah, that's the classic way of felling a tree that's being simulated. And all you need to know about the standing block chop, well, it's coming up right now.
Standing block chop. At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 30 centimeters has to be cut through both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result.
So here we have the starting order in the standing block chop. Heat 1, Elgin Pugh taking on Severin Bühler. In Heat 2, it will be Pierre Puberet against Michael Dubicki. Heat 3, Koen Martens and Robert Ebner. Heat 4, Marcel Dupuy against Andrea Rossi. Heat 5, Armin Kugler against Martin Komarek. And in Heat 6, Jason Lenz versus Ferry Swan.
All right, something that we talk a lot about in this particular discipline, and anybody who wants to get into the sport and try it out on their own has an opportunity to go to a camp and test it out, but they only will allow you to start on the standing block chop once you have a solid hold of the axe on the underhand chop. So you cannot, they will not let you go to this discipline before you know how to use that axe on the underhand chop. Here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, Elgin Pugh, Severin Bühler, and Elgin Pugh, definitely the stronger of the two guys here. Severin Bühler, though, he's definitely been working with Christoph Geisler, who is pretty solid in this discipline. The question is here, oh boy, look at this. Both of these guys going over to the other side of their block, bang on with each other. So this may be a closer battle than I anticipated. Elgin Pugh putting everything he's got into it. He's got it! Oh my goodness, how close was that? That was a super tight heat between these two guys. Unfortunately, I can't see any times yet because our screen's gone bananas. Luckily, we got live behind us. We'll give those times to you in a second here.
22.62 for Elgin Pugh and Severin Bühler with 22.72. Another personal best for Severin Bühler.
Yep.
But of course, Elgin Pugh beating him and having the best time so far with 22.47. That is the latest and corrected time.
So that's fantastic job by Severin Bühler. Big congratulations to him. That's 2 personal bests in the competition so far, and that tells you a lot about his motivation for this competition. Absolutely.
And of course, that is a great way of showing that he won the Swiss Nationals for
absolutely.
a reason.
And you can see Elgin Pugh just putting everything he's got into those blows. And there you see Severin Bühler, just fantastic. And I mean, Christoph Geisler is a very, very strong standing block chop. So you know that he's going to be giving a lot of tips to Severin Bühler about making sure that he's got the right axe angle, so that his aiming is correct, so that he's got the right power going to each one of those blows. And it really shows in how he performed here today against Elgin Pugh. And our stage crew working hard out there. We always have to give props to the stage crew because, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on up there, and they have a really important role in that they have to make sure that that stage is tickety-boo for the next heat, because
and we always like to compare them to the Formula One crew.
Yeah. Why not? They're
and
doing
taking
exactly
a look at
the same
at
thing.
them, that's just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, it's important for these guys to get a good job out there on stage, because that stage needs to be really clean, particularly for this event, because we've seen in past where an athlete will be hitting a block and he'll try to get around to the other side and he'll fall.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen it a couple of times where the athlete will fall down, and the last thing you want to do is fall down with that sharp axe in your hand. So, next heat in the blocks, we got Pierre Puy-Barré going up against Mika Dubicki. And again, 2 guys that are very strong in this discipline. Slight advantage to Mika Dubicki based on his power.
Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, huge stick by Pierre Puy-Barré. Mika Dubicki getting right into it, though. Woo! Another one from Pierre Puy-Barré, and that's going to cause him mega problems as Dubicki has already moved over to the other side. Puy-Barré about 3 strokes behind now as he moves over to the other side of his block, but I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up to the Polish man who's got it down. What a fantastic time by Mika Dubicki, 2020. And Pierre Puy-Barré in an unofficial 21-29. Not that far behind, but boy, he got that axe caught a couple of times heavily using that power.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
That, of course, is the sentence that we always want to hear.
Always want to hear that, for sure.
So it's Dubicki before Pierre Puy-Barré, Elgin Pugh and Severin Bühler.
And if I look at the overall standings, that puts Mika Dubicki on top with a total of 22 points. Pierre Puy-Barré tied actually for 22 points in second place, and Severin Bühler with 21 points in third. So that's a great position for him to be in at the moment.
True, but we've only seen 4 of 12.
Exactly. I was just going to say, you know, that's 2 of 6 heats, right? 4 of 12 athletes. So we got a lot more to come. And those times will change. Those times will be affected. And those positions will also be shifting around quite a lot.
But that's what it makes it so exciting, isn't it? I love it. Love it.
Absolutely fantastic. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, the world champs have been absolutely fantastic so far.
Yep.
Many personal bests. All the athletes being very close together. So it's going to be very exciting to see who's going to make it to the round 2.
Well, this is what I was just going to say. This is a key component, this standing block chop now, because they have to get through this in order to be among the top 8 athletes to move on to round 2. Now, if we're looking at the next heat coming up, we got Koen Martens going up against Robert Ebner. Koen Martens, very, very solid in this discipline, but Robert Ebner has shown he's got a fire in his belly this year and is definitely one of the favorites to take the overall competition. Surprisingly weak start by Robert Ebner this time around, unfortunately, so hopefully he can pick up the pace as we get towards the latter part, but this is a good discipline for the German. And Koen Martens also has a national record for standing block.
Athletes, ready.
Tough call here.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Bang on. Their timing is with each other right off the mark. Couple of little sticks by Koen Martens, nothing bad, but wow, Robert Ebner over to the other side, quick as a wink. He's not wasting any time to get to the other side of that block and try and dig through there. He's doing a great job, a little stick for him, and Koen Martens trying to catch up. Is it going to be Koen Martens dropping it first? It's going to be close. It's going to be Koen Martens. Oh my God, I am really amazed there. Koen Martens was about 2 strokes behind Robert Ebner going to the other side. I don't know if Robert Ebner didn't dig through on the first side deep enough, or if it was just a bit of a knot in the wood. We'll have to find that out later on. But Koen Martens gets this one. The times are not fantastic at this point, 22.72 and 25.82.
Both cuts are good.
But the cuts are fair. We don't see a disqualification very often in this particular discipline, and both of those guys, I mean, they're going to be happy about getting through it. They're not going to be super thrilled with their times, quite honestly.
Yeah, but Koen Martens has a total of 22 points at the moment, which puts him into the same position as Dubicki and Fuberet. So that's something he can be very pleased with.
Yeah, 3 guys tied for the top spot.
Yep, but again, 3 more heats coming up, so everything can be shuffled down again.
Just if you're wondering, by the way, if you see 2 or 3 or 4 guys even tied for the top spots on points after the first round, then what they do is they look back at these times of the previous heats, and then the faster times move into the top spots. So if we see a tie.
And it very much looks like it at the moment. All athletes so close together, unbelievable.
Just look at the determination on Robert Ebner's face, though, as he slaps out some big chips. Putting everything he's got into it. Targeting nicely, going down for these up cuts there, and then switching to the down.
Nice pictures, beautiful pictures.
Yeah. I like to see Robert Ebner smiling. It's he was so motivated and so focused and almost angry with himself in the German championships that that weight was off his shoulder, getting the world record in the hot saw and winning the German championships. It seems like now he's just sort of in it for the fun more than anything, which is really important. All right, heat number 4 coming up between Marcel Dupuis and Andrea Rossi. Strong discipline for Dupuis. Surprisingly, I don't see the cleats on his feet today for this one. Or maybe he's just got different shoes with different cleats. I don't know. Can you see cleats there? I can't see cleats.
Okay, gentlemen. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Look at that massive wide stance from Andrea Rossi. Marcel Dupuis getting right into it. I don't think it's going to be long before he switches to the other side. 2, 3, 4 more hits. No, not
both
even that.
Both of them
going over quickly. A little bit of a pause in the action there. That was strange. Dupuis getting close, though. One more roll should do it, and he does it. 19-19. And Andrea Rossi, struggles with a stick, and he's got a tough one there. It looks like that one was holding on for dear life with a 25-41. And he's looking at that block wondering what the heck was holding on to that. Some alien DNA in that wood or something.
Haven't heard that one before.
I come up with one weird one every once in a while, hey?
What do you mean one? One at least.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So Marcel Dupuis, top time in standing block chop, and that puts him also in the top of the overall rankings. Excuse me, I lied. That doesn't put him in the top of the overall rankings. Or my block didn't update or something, but
we're still waiting for confirmed time.
Yeah, but I do believe he moves to the top of the overall rankings after that. But Andrea Rossi had a tough log here. Got that axe caught a couple of times there. Here's the first side for Marcel Dupuis. Really careful to step around those blocks and chips on the floor. And nice big slabs coming out there. Big blows there by Andrea Rossi. And this, I mean, you could see big slabs coming off. You can see the nails at the top of the block as well. Those are there so that the top doesn't slab out and make it easier for these athletes. They want to make sure that everything stays fair. Here's Andrea Rossi moving over to the other side. So let's take a look. There it is. Marcel Dupuis on top with a 19.06. And Andrea Rossi with his time of 25.12 is 7th place at the moment in standing block. And that puts Marcel Dupuis just ahead of Koen Martens and Mika Dubicki in the overall standings.
And I believe Lisa is
All right,
next to
thank
Marcel.
you guys. I'm here with Marcel. That was incredible. I mean, I saw the axe something was holding on to it. Always, as like Troy said. Can you walk us through a little bit? How did you feel it?
Yeah, like the front side of the block went well. When I got to the back side, it was full of knots. So I cut through a few knots, bent my axe, and it was a harder time to break the block apart. But it is what it is. I did the best I could.
You did an amazing job, and I'm hoping you're doing well.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I had that DQ in the stock saw, so it kind of set me back. So now I got to tighten my belt and get to work. Hopefully, I can make it to the next step, and then yeah, we'll see how it goes from there. So
I wish you all the best. And now back to the studio.
He's got to tighten his belt.
Like yeah, that's such a Canadian thing. Hey, I got to tighten my belt and work harder.
And trust me, he's going to do it.
He'll do it, absolutely. All right, heat number 5 of 6, Armin Kugler up against Martin Komarek. Here's a couple of old battle-scarred veterans going up against each other. Love to see this one. There's some focus right there from Martin Komarek. Is this his year?
Okay,
he has been good all season long. Let's see.
Ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Points-wise, Martin Komarek is the top athlete of the 10 European athletes participating here today. He's been so consistent, but Armin Kugler is very, very strong in this discipline as he slips a hand but moves over to the other side quickly. Martin Komarek is over there as well. It's going to be a close one between these two, but it looks like Martin Komarek's got it.
Oh.
And an 18.98. Good job by Martin Komarek. Oh, and Kugler, he skipped it a little bit. He's got a bit of an outside edge and finally drops it in 25.97. So that puts him in 12th place in the overall standings, but Martin Komarek moves into the top position.
Very impressive again.
So great job by the ever-consistent Martin Komarek to do what he needed to do on stage there. It's not a bad time.
Congratulations. Both cuts are good.
1871, first in standing block chop, and now first overall. And this is a great position for him to be in because there's only one more heat to go. And that one more heat isn't going to... I mean, the worst thing that's going to happen is Martin Komarek will end up in 3rd place here. What a man. Look at that, though, hey? I mean, just absolutely fantastic. His dedication and devotion to this sport for the Czech Republic and for the European side of things is just amazing. Armin Kugler also no slouch, but I think maybe...
Well, he started off very well, but then on the other, after the switch of sides...
Well, he was over to the other side before Martin Komarek was. And it could be the situation there where he got into a couple of knots on the backside. I mean, like I said, these blocks are chosen fairly, but there's always the possibility there's going to be a knot in there.
Well, it's a nature product,
and when the knots,
not artificial.
Yeah, we can't do anything about it. And when the knots are in there, they're in there, and that makes it harder to cut. I just find it hard to believe that these axes get bent, but that's how sharp they are.
But it's a bit like skiing, pick over one small stone, and the edges
your wax job is done for.
Yep.
Yeah.
But how impressive is that man? He's been on that level for so many years, and he's showing the youngsters again how things are working for him.
And look at the time difference, 35 of a second from Komarek to Dupuis. Let's take a look at the overall standings. Koen Martin slips down 1 notch into 3rd place. Marcel Dupuis holds on to now in 2nd place, and Martin Komarek at the top of the standings.
Yeah, but 3, 4, and 5 all with 20 points. So.
Yeah. But check this out, Jason Lenz, this is his discipline.
Oh yeah,
this
look
is
at the
absolutely
best.
his discipline.
Woo.
He's always the kick man when it comes to the team competition on the standing block chop. Ferry Swan, no slouch with an 18:17 personal best, but look at the personal best of Jason Lenz, 15:42. And if you watch Jason Lenz's stance, he's a big man, you know, like 6'4", 6'5". He'll step back, spread those legs way apart, push off that back leg, and just put drivers into that block like you won't believe. Watch this.
Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, you can even feel it here in the
Yeah.
studio.
You
The
can feel it in the
vibrations coming
studio.
over.
Yeah, the whole place is just vibrating. But look how accurate those cuts are from Ferry Swan.
Brilliant, brilliant.
And he's been working on this, and look at Jason Lenz. He's close. He's really close. Ferry Swan not that far behind. 2 more blows. 1 more blow for Jason Lenz as he swings from the outfield with a 19:07 personal best. I'm sorry, that's no personal best for Jason Lenz. In 19:07, he's got a 15:42 personal best. So timing there was a little bit wacky according to our list, but Ferry Swan, he was not that far behind. But Jason Lenz, let's see, his time was 19:98 with adjustment. Ferry Swan was just ahead of him with a 19.40. So that was a close battle between these two guys, both of them under 20 seconds.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
So guess who stays on top of the pack after the standing block chop? Mr. Martin Komarek.
Yeah, look at those pieces of wood, those chips flying off that block. Ferry Swan digging deep, those big pressing pushes off that back leg. And there you see the axe of Jason Lenz. It was wiggling there, and this final one just out for left field. Goes for it. Some motivation for these guys, and here comes, oh, that was a massive stick by Ferry Swan as he tries to wedge that one out. All right, so standing block chop, we have Martin Komarek on top with Jason Lenz, a new personal best. Although I'm not sure about that personal best because based on the list that we saw earlier, he had a 15 personal best, or maybe my eyes are just so bad that I can't read it properly. In the overall standings, Jason Lenz makes a huge jump up into 2nd place, and Ferry Swan is in 3rd place with Marcel Dupuis in 4th and Mika Dubicki in 5th place. So our overall standings are shifting around quite significantly. And yeah, so there's some changes in how everything is going here.
Absolutely, and only 8 athletes make it to round number 2.
Yep.
I'm afraid Armin Kugler is not there. Armin ist sich leider nicht ausgegangen, in Runde 2 zu gehen. Du hast doch jetzt am Ende den Kopf geschüttelt, du hast super gestartet und dann nach dem Wechsel auf die andere Seite ist es einfach nicht mehr gelaufen. Was ist da passiert?
Ja, der Block hatte ein paar Äste. Die waren aber gar nicht so hart. Das hat mich eher irritiert und habe 2, 3 Fehlschläge gehabt und ja, dann ein bisschen zu viel riskiert, zu viel Holz noch stehen gehabt vor dem Drive und sich leider nicht ausgegangen.
Aber ich glaube, das ist genau das, diese Kleinigkeiten, ja, die auf diesem Top-Level, auf dem wir uns bewegen, entscheidend sind. Oder da geht es eben falsches Einschätzen, vielleicht eine Spur zu schnell, lange zögern und das macht den Unterschied.
Ja, genau so ist es. Man muss einfach alles riskieren. Man kann nicht einfach zusätzlich 2 Schläge von unten machen, um genug Holz rauszuchippen. Man versucht einfach so viel wie möglich mit den letzten 3 Schlägen durchzudriven. Ja, und das kann halt dann schief gehen, dann braucht es dann 3, 4, 5 extra Schläge und dann ist die Zeit natürlich komplett im Keller.
So I've been talking to Armin about the small differences or the small things that make the big differences on that level that we are competing here at the World Championships, and that's what makes the big difference. And Armin said, you know, he had a great start. On the other side, he felt some knots in the wood, but it would not have been that bad. But it made him think. It made him go for another stroke that might not have been necessary. And of course, at the end of the day, that's the difference not to make it to round number 2. And Troy, I mean, you've been watching the whole procedure.
Yeah.
Armin had a great start in every one of those rounds.
Yeah, and I called it on that block as well. When he went to the other side, I saw, it was just a little bit slower on the backside, and I thought, okay, maybe there's some knots back there. And, Armin confirmed it. There were some knots, and it just makes, it makes the headspace change a little bit for these guys, and that's a tough break, unfortunately. I'm sorry to be out of the competition at this point.
Hat es trotzdem Spaß gemacht, hier wieder eine echte Weltmeisterschaft zu haben in einem sehr, sehr schwierigen Jahr 2021.
Ja, sicher. Jeder Bewerb ist super, den wir haben. Natürlich auch die Wettkampferfahrung. Man ist heuer nicht so im Modus, aber das sollen alles keine Ausreden sein. Hier ist alles perfekt angerichtet. Dem steht nichts im Wege.
Und du bist natürlich dann hoffentlich nächstes Jahr dann auch wieder dabei und wirst gemeinsam mit uns wieder rocken.
Auf jeden Fall, wenn wir wieder alles geben.
Dann schauen wir uns gemeinsam Duel and Discipline an. We're going to take a closer look at Duel and Discipline of the first round 2 competition, and that's coming up right away. Vielen Dank.
The 2-meter-long cross-cut saw used for the single buck discipline is made especially for competition. A series of consistently patterned 10-centimeter-long teeth are cut with a laser on one side of the saw and then hand-sharpened. Saw teeth are divided into 2 types, cutters and rakers, just like on the old-school saws. The saw weighs about 5 kilos and its base price starts at around €1,500. Single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc of a 46-centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success.
So here are our 8 remaining athletes for the single buck. Severin Bühler taking on Pierre Puberet in heat number 1. Heat number 2, consisting of Koen Martens and Michael Dubicki. In heat 3, we'll see Marcel Depuy take on Ferry Swan. And finally, in heat number 4, it will be Jason Lenz taking on Martin Komarek.
Severin Bühler going up against Pierre Puberet. Now, Pierre Puberet is quite strong in this discipline. Excuse me. We saw Severin Bühler also looking very good in the Swiss Championship on this discipline, but the question is, will he be able to hold pace with Pierre Puberet? Now, this is the misery whip for a reason. That's the nickname of this particular saw, that 2-meter-long cross-cut saw we just heard about. You got to have the flow going and keep it going. If that thing stops, you're in deep trouble.
2, 1, go!
And we're going to see different styles here as well, as these guys have different ways of starting. Some will go for those choppy shortcuts right off the bat. And you can see right away Pierre Puberet is really deep into it. And he's got himself a great...
What?
Oh!
What?
Is that true? Is that true? An 11.82 would be a world record here. And that means the world record from, excuse me, Ferry Swan of 12.01 just fell through the floor from Pierre Puberet. Wow! Let's see. It's got to be confirmed yet. They're going to do a video check on it and everything. But if that's the case, we have a new world record right here at the World Championships.
Everyone taking their time now.
Yeah, this
Pressure
is where it
is
gets
building
to be
up.
a little bit too much.
Is it a world record or is it not?
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
11:58 would mean it is a world record, and he has beat Ferry Swan's time of 12:01. Now, we have to also point out that this is without assistance.
Yep.
Okay, because the world record was set without assistance by Ferry Swan. So that is the difference maker here between where there's one guy on stage with wedge and wedge and wax, let's call it. But that was a great cut. And by the way, we shouldn't miss out on giving the fact that Severin Bühler also just had a personal best here. We don't want to overshadow the fact that He's made improvements of 3 of the 4 disciplines so far in this competition.
Full respect
so that's
to that
really
man.
a great job by Severin Bühler. Big respect.
But how cool was that scoreboard? Personal best, seasonal best, and a world record.
The difference here is look at the difference in the thickness of the cookies between these two guys. Severin Bühler had quite a bit thicker cookie, and that binds on the saw a lot more. And Pierre Puy-Barré, his was very thin, and he was very intelligent about how he set that saw up on top of the block to make sure that he had a thin cookie. The risk there is, though, that when you get down to the bottom of that cut, if the angle is a bit wrong or if the saw bows a little bit, you could break the cookie off, and then you have to go back and cut that last bit to make it a fair cookie. So Pierre Puy-Barré sets the standard for single buck with a world record in the single buck without help of 11.58. Severin Bühler, a personal best of 20.08. And we move on to our next heat with Koen Martens going up against Mikael Dubicki. Here's all the preparation time for these guys. So important to make sure they've got everything exactly as they want it for their cut.
And look at him aiming.
Okay, gentlemen.
Eyeing everything up. That was great.
Athletes,
Here
ready.
we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Getting right into it. Oh, Koen Martens gets a bit of a hook up there. That is costly with Mikael Dubicki keeping the flow going. He's using that entire saw. Oh, he broke it off. He's got to get back on there and cut that last little bit. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier on. He just had a little bit too much pressure. The angle up was a bit too much. He blew that disc off, but he did go back and cut that last little bit off.
That
so
would have
because he
been
did
a
that,
personal best.
it should be a fair cut. They will check that to make sure, but I don't think there's any argument here that he's got a good cookie.
Yeah, but he, of course, will not have the personal best. But Koen Martens, once again, got himself a personal best.
Yeah, good job. I don't think we can call this block a melon like Yolanda calls it, but these guys are doing great.
Both cuts are good.
All right, happy to see that Mikael Dubicki's cut was, in fact, good at the end of the day. He was smart enough to go back there and get that cut, but you saw that thing blew off. The saw came well away, so he had to take up that whip of a saw and put it back in position for this little tiny tooth of wood. And meanwhile, Koen Martens, he had a bit of a hookup at the start in the early goings here, but managed to still get a personal best out of it. So you gotta love the gumption and the gusto that Koen Martens is giving this event here today. He's had personal bests already a couple of times around, so that's a great job by him. Oh, there's that huge explosion. Watch what happens with the saw. He's got to reposition that beast in right on the spot to get that little tooth off. That is, as they say in German, ärgerlich. Yeah?
That's very ärgerlich indeed.
And that's the explosive power right there of Mikael Dubicki. You could see just putting everything into it. He had great flow at that point as well. Like you said, it would have been another personal best for him, but unfortunately that little mistake at the end, just a bit too much power. The saw whips out and breaks the piece off, causing
And look at that,
problems.
he's still in second position, even though he had to go back and cut off that small piece.
Yeah, that says a
Full
lot
respect.
right there. So in the overall standings, nothing really changes among the top 3 there. And
But it very soon will.
It very soon will. So Severin Bühler is down in 6th place. Remember, the top 6 guys are the ones that are moving on to the stock saw round. Marcel Dupuis going up against Ferry Swan now. Now, Ferry Swan, as we know, is very good in this discipline, having previously held the world record until today. Marcel Dupuis, also very good in this discipline. And you can see Marcel Dupuis is wearing these mega spikes No, Ferry Swan is wearing those mega spikes. Those are his boots right there. Look at those things. That's some serious ice climbing equipment he's got on there, it looks like.
Yeah, and of course, in his world, he wants to get back the world record.
Yes.
Okay, gentlemen.
Look at the stance on Ferry Swan as well.
Ready.
Stand to your timber.
So if you watch the style between these two guys,
go!
Ferry Swan will get in with a couple of short, quick cuts and then start to use the entire length of the saw. Marcel Dupuis, he's powerful enough to be able to get right at it with the whole saw. But Ferry Swan looking good. Oh, it's going to come close to it, but it's not a record. 12:46. Marcel Dupuis, a personal best at 13. Remembering this is without help. So good job by Marcel Dupuis as the assistants on stage come in to grab those saws so the guys can come up to the front with Andy Hall and get the results of their cuts.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
You know what I'm loving here, though? In the competition of single bucks so far, we've had a world record and 3 personal bests. Marcel Dupuis,
wow,
one of those guys with a personal best, and he is currently sitting in 3rd place in single buck. And we'll take a look back at the replay here really quickly and then get a look at the standings. And look at the concentration on Marcel right there. So he has started off, actually, surprisingly. Usually he goes for those full long strokes right off the bat. Ferry Swan, look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 short strokes off the top, and then gets into using the whole saw. And you can see how quickly that's going through there.
That's
just
magic.
Look at that. I mean, that is motor saw speed right there.
It seems like it.
Fantastic.
You're absolutely right.
And here is where that core strength plays such a huge role. I mean, you got to have grip strength as well, but the core strength to really move that saw back and forth is so important. And you can also see that the stance of Ferry Swan had such a wide stance that he pushes off of that back leg with just more or less the toes.
I like you doing it.
Really gotta, yeah.
It's a shame our viewers can't see you do those movements. And I mean, Ferry has to be very happy with that 2nd position in the single buck. He moves into 1st in the overall standings as we move on to heat number 4.
Yeah.
And that's another massive one. Jason Lenz versus Martin Komarek.
Yeah, Jason Lenz and Martin Komarek going at battle again. Jason Lenz needs a 12.71 for the lead overall, and Martin Komarek needs a 15.92. So Martin Komarek's got the advantage here against Lenz.
Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
And there you see Jason Lenz straight away with the long strokes. Martin Komarek opts in for short 3, 4, 5 short strokes like Ferry Swan did, but Lenz using that entire saw to his advantage. And Komarek actually gets in a bit of trouble there. And it is a personal best for Lenz with a 13.18 and for Komarek with a 14.06. So again, another couple of personal bests dropping by the wayside. Love it, love it, love it.
So that's 8 athletes with 6 personal bests, and one of these personal bests, of course, is a world record.
Yep.
Wow.
Amazing. So Pierre Puy-Barré can be happy about that one, a world record without assistance in the single buck.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Jason Lenz, single buck 4th place. Martin Komarek right behind him in 5th place. We'll take a look at how that switches everything around in the overall standings shortly here.
Trust me, this is going to be so close in the top 3. But let's take a look at the slow-mos first.
So there you see those quick starting strokes from Martin Komarek, and then he gets into using that entire length of the saw. And that's a critical point there. You want to use the entire length of the saw because then you have the more efficient cuts, as you can see. Now, when he got down towards the bottom half of that disc, he started to slow down a little bit. And I don't know if that was because he was running out of steam or because he ran into something. But the angle just wasn't there for him. And you can see Jason Lenz, that saw was disappearing into the wood. And that last cut was just a quick pull by him, and he is out and done. Yeah, and there's Martin Komarek. He's grimacing. So I don't know if he is feeling a little bit of pain here in this particular discipline. it's not going to hurt him that badly in the overall standings. He's still in a solid position to make it into the final with one more discipline to go here in round 2. Let's take a look at the rankings here when they come up in single buck. So there you go. Pierre Puy-Barré with the world records.
Congratulations again.
Yeah, big deal there. And Ferry Swan sitting in second place. In the overall standings, there's
Just
the shift.
1 point between
Jason
the top 3.
Lentz.
Can you believe
Wow.
it?
39, 39, 38, 34. Wow, that's the competition right there for you. It's just fantastic. You know, these guys are rocking and rolling right now. And we've seen a lot of juggling in the overall rankings. Jason Lentz, maybe a little bit jet lagged. Started off not so strong, but he's coming on with some steam power now.
And like we mentioned, only 1 point between the top 3. And we're going to take a closer look at the 2 fastest men, Puy-Barré and Swan.
Head to head, side by side. Let's see. So here we see Puy-Barré starts with his big long strokes. Ferry Swan, those short strokes to get things going, and then he gets into those long strokes once he's there. But look at the power and speed by both of these guys. It looks faster by Ferry Swan because he's actually moving the saw faster, but it was a more efficient cut by Pierre Puy-Barré, and that shows by the final result there with a world record for Pierre Puy-Barré. So great job for the Frenchman, taking down that world record that was held by Ferry Swan previously.
I was just going to say, the old world record holder against
the record holder in the side-by-side, and it was a really good opportunity to see those 2 different styles at work, and both of them are advantage.
And talking about Ferry Swan, of course, he's going to be very happy that next year we're going to have the individual world championships in Gothenburg, Sweden. How about that? We can announce it today officially. We're going to have the individual world championships in Sweden next year.
Go.
Gothenburg. Do not miss it. '28th and 29th of October. Have you written it down yet? Put it into your phone.
Booked.
And one man is very, very happy about that fact, and that, of course, is Ferry Swan.
Yes.
Hello, timber sport fans around the world. Ferry Swan here from Sweden. As you just seen, the World Championship 2022 will be held in my home country in Sweden next year. This will be super exciting, and all I can say is get your ticket for a World Championship in Gothenburg. Come to Sweden and cheer on your nation. Vi ses I Oktober 2022.
Well, I'm definitely going to be there. So is Troy, and the Springboard is next. All you need to know about the Springboards, here we go.
Springboard. Springboard simulates the traditional way of felling trees, climbing up over thick roots. First, notches known as pockets are chopped into the log. 2 springboards are then anchored into these pockets. The athlete then climbs up to chop through a 27-centimeter thick block of wood in the fastest time possible.
And here are the starters of Heat 1. Severin Bühler against Pierre Puy-Barré. In Heat 2, we'll see Koen Martens take on Michael Dubicki. In Heat 3, it will be Marcel Depuy against Ferry Swan. And finally, in Heat 4, Jason Lentz will take on Martin Komarek.
All right, so Springboard Heat number 1, Severin Bühler against Pierre Puy-Barré. Now, here's where the size of the guys can play a role. Not always will, but can play a role. The lighter athlete will have the advantage of getting up onto the springboard and being able to utilize that springboard to his advantage. The heavier athlete, however, when the springboard is placed correctly, will have a better time cutting that block off of the top. Here we go.
Your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So Pierre Puy-Barré looking for a solid, I think that was maybe 4 hits to get that first pocket in place. And here we see the first board isn't so super important. It is important, naturally, to get up there and be able to have good footing to set the second pocket. But this second pocket for him was about 6-7 hits, and he gets that one in. Now watch what happens here. We're going to see a bit of sag in that board. So that board is just below 90 degrees, and that's going to cause him problems. Meanwhile, Severin Bühler on the other side is already up on top of his board. He's got a halfway decent placed board. The angle's not awesome, but he is really working deeply into that first side. So he's got the advantage at this point against the bigger man in Pierre Puy-Barré. Now, because Pierre Puy-Barré's board is sagging a bit more due to his weight on that board and the fact that, you know, he didn't really have that steep angle, he's got to step in closer to the block, means he doesn't have as much power in those strokes, and that means that he's going to have to choke up on the axe a lot more, which means that his time will be a little bit slower. Severin Bühler, in the meantime, has dropped his block in 1:10.00.
And guess
that's
what?
a personal best. Great job by Severin. He has just been improving from the get-go. Great job. And Pierre Puy-Barré manages to get it down to 1:10.68. So 68 hundredths of a second slower. And you know, good start to the Springboard competition. This is like, you know, this is the kitty cat competition, we call it. You know, it's a little bit finicky. Not quite as finicky as the hot saw, perhaps, but you really have so many things going on in this. You know, you've got to set the pockets, you got to set the boards, you got to be up 2 meters plus above the ground to make sure that you can really get that block on the top worked in a good way. So, you know, 109, 110 after the adjustments. So good times for both of these guys. Not awesome times, but, you know, that's the way it goes. You got to roll with the punches.
Yeah, and speaking of Severin Bühler, I mean, he is such a tremendous surprise to me today.
Yeah.
With getting one personal best after the other.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, absolutely.
Full respect to that man.
That second pocket set by Pierre Puy-Barré just took a little bit too long. I think he was about 6-7 hits to get there, and finally got it in. And Severin Bühler obviously really likes this discipline, or maybe he hates it, but he just wants to get it over with quicker, so that's why he's good at it.
As long as it works.
Yeah, whatever works, right? Here's the difficult part for these guys is getting on that backside, that weird angle, choking up on the saw, or on the axe, excuse me, and you know, trying to hit from the backside. You can see in the far end of the picture there, Severin Bühler taking a couple 3 strokes just to get through the backside. A little bit of a slip there that could have been disastrous, but he controlled the axe and then finally gets that block down in an official time of 109.84 after adjustment.
And except for the underhand shot, Severin Bühler has set the personal best in each and every single discipline so far.
But we did say right off the top that he wasn't the strongest in underhand chop, so he has shown improvement through all of these other disciplines, which is for me fantastic, because it tells me that he's not here just to you know, say, hey, I made it, you know. He's here to compete and really put some pressure on these guys. So in Springboard, Severin Bühler at the moment top of the blocks, and we'll take a look at the overall standings. He moves up into 5th place. So he is on the bubble at the moment. He's in a bit of a rough spot there. We're going to see some good times come up. So maybe Severin Bühler gets knocked down in below 6th place, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, so the overall standings will stay on a little bit longer here, and we're going to check out one of our partners now.
So it's heat 2 between Koen Martens and Michal Dubicki.
Okay, let's call a spade here. Koen Martens struggled in this discipline all season long. He's gotten through it by virtue of his tenacity and his ability just to push away all the demons. Michal Dubicki, he's a big boy, and this has been his advantage and his disadvantage in this discipline as well, because he's had some good boards, but he's also had some pretty cheap boards up there. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two come together in this heat, and I'm crossing my fingers.
Okay, gentlemen.
I kind of have a feeling that this is going to be a fantastic heat.
To your timber.
I think so too. Looking at a 4-hit pocket for both of them is optimal.
1, go!
Full concentration.
So that's 5 hits for Koen Marten to get that first board in. Pay attention to the angle there. Looking pretty solid. Don't know where Dubicki is at the moment, but Koen Marten's now aiming for getting that second pocket in position, and he's got another 5-hit pocket on that one. Taking a little bit longer for Michal Dubicki to get that second pocket in place. Now, look at the board angle for Koen Martens. It's 90 degrees and not quite sagging, but Koen Martens has the advantage of being on that top block. Now, if Michal Dubicki can get a steep angle on that board, he can utilize his power from the back end of the board better than Koen Martens can. And Koen Martens opting to go to the backside fairly quickly. Let's see if that's to his advantage. It looks good for him. And we may see Koen Martens get under a minute. No, he's going to go back to the front side. Maybe one more blow. Come on, Koen, you can do it, buddy. Oh, it's just passing over the minute mark there. And it's one thread that's just holding on for dear life. 104.88 for Koen Martens. And he shrugs that one off. 108.66 for Dubicki. So Koen Martens, I'm really sorry. He didn't slay the dragon here on this one, but he came really close to getting under a minute on that one. I don't think many people have managed to do that this year. And we have a flag on the play with a video check on stand B, and that is on the stand for Michal Dubicki. Don't know what it's about, but usually a video check refers to wrenching.
Okay, so we make a video
let's see.
check for possible wrenching on
there you go.
stand B.
So what wrenching means is when the athlete gets that final close to the end blow, and instead of having a clean cut through, they will twist the axe, and instead of cutting through, the twist of the axe is what will break it off the top. Now, if they do determine it was wrenching for Michal Dubicki at the end, then that means that he will be in a bit of trouble here, because that will be a DQ and no points for him in this one. Now, that's the action that they're talking about. The question is, was it so early on, or was it a result of the final blow? It doesn't look like it was a result of the final blow, so I don't know. That's a tough one here.
Yeah, I think that's
so deep conversations from Jörg Kutzenberger and Andy Hall there as they look at the super slow-mos of Michal Dubicki when he was on his second board.
Yeah, I get it. I think that's fine.
And the tension mounts as they return to the stage. Now, what will the end result be?
Okay, we make a video check for possible wrenching on stand B. However, both cuts are good.
Oh, that's all we want to hear.
Did you see that fist bump of relief from Michal Dubicki?
Yeah, you can see that.
And there's a big smile of relief. Yes. That's something you don't see from the Polish man very often.
Not on stage, anyway.
No, when you do, I tell you what, it's a big smile.
And I think Koen Martens will be smiling as well.
Yeah,
he's on top of the pack at the moment.
Yeah.
And only 2 heats to go.
Koen Martens, I mean, the perfect situation for anybody doing the springboard is a 4-hit pocket, board in, 4-hit pocket, board in, and quick through the top. I mean,
we're talking about Sterling Hart.
Yeah, I mean, Sterling Hart with the world record that he got back in 2016. It's going to be a long time before anybody breaks 35.67. 35 seconds.
Crazy.
It's just nuts. It's like under 36 seconds.
We've watched it together, and it's unreal.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, and I mean, Koen Martens right here. This one, he was just at about the 55-second mark, and he had to go back to the front side and then finally blew through it, but he was just over the minute mark, and I really feel bad for him because it would have been great to see him get under a minute on that. There you go. Koen Martin's happy about that, though. Fast time top of the springboard so far. And there's a couple of guys that are really happy to be done with that discipline right there. So let's take a look at the rankings in springboard. Remembering we only have 8 athletes. We're going to get rid of 2, the bottom 2, after springboard is done. So the overall rankings, Pierre Puy-Barré still on top. Mika Dubicki holding on to second place. And Jason Lentz just in third. But look at the score there, 44, 39, 39, 39. That's close from 2 to 4th position. It's amazing.
So we are ready for the next heat. And of course, like we say, Koen Martin's in the lead in the springboard at the moment. Yep. Next up are Marcel Dupuy and Ferry Swan. Who would you favor in that heat?
To be honest with you, Marcel Dupuy. Ferry Swan, he's a slight guy. He's very good in this discipline, but we've seen Marcel Dupuy be surprisingly agile for a big man. He gets those boards placed really well. He gets up on the good angle. So if he can hold on to what he knows how to do in this particular discipline, then I think he's going to beat Ferry Swan. But you know what? It's anybody's game out there. And as we know, Ferry Swan, he is that guy that's always analyzing the little bits and pieces here to make sure that he is really on point for these competitions. And it is the World Championships. So
let's find out. Let's take a closer look at our double graphic of our 2 competitors. Marcel Dupuy versus Ferry Swan. 110 Ks against 86 kilograms. 35 against 24 if you consider the age. And the height, 180 against 178. So that's
not really difference. It's the weight that plays more than anything. But both
the
of these guys have
very close together
personal bests that are close together, under a minute. But still, I kind of think that Marcel Dupuy is going to do this one.
Well, so I'm going to go with Ferry Swan.
Okay. And it's Rochambeau for the win.
Yeah, same here.
All right, here we go. Heat number 3. Marcel Dupuy, Ferry Swan, getting ready.
Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Four-hit pocket for Dupuy. Look at the angle on that board. That's near perfect. Yeah, he's opting for it. He's going to go for it. He's got a 4-hit pocket on number 2. Does he get that board in place cleanly? Ferry Swan struggling to get that second board in place. He got a bit of an angle on there. And Ferry Swan's, boy, he's standing really close to the knuckle on that one. Marcel Dupuy is on his second board, but look at the board. It's sagging a little bit there. And both of these guys working on that top block now, just passing the 35-second mark. Marcel Dupuy has the advantage of power in this case because both of them are standing really close to the knuckle of their board and just using their upper body for those swings to get through that first side. And now it's a question of who is going to get through first. Ferry Swan is still working on the first side. Marcel Dupuy just passing 55 seconds. It looks like he's getting close to knocking it off. And he does it in under a minute. Marcel Dupuy, holy smokes, he's got to jump down from that 2-meter height. Look at that, 59-53. I really hope they don't DQ him for a jump down like that. They shouldn't. I don't believe there's anything in the rules, but Ferry Swan with a 1:13.36. Marcel Dupuy with arguably the fastest time of the day with under a minute at 59.53. So close to the minute mark. Great job by the Canadian.
But did he jump off because he wanted to, or did he jump off because he had to?
I don't think so.
Maybe I think the slow-mo is going to show.
He knocked that block off, and I think that the follow-through on the axe just took him over to the side of the board. And, I mean, luckily he's got powerful legs. Otherwise, that drop down to the ground at 2 meters might have hurt.
Both cuts are good.
That's great.
Nice job by Marcel Dupuy. So that gets him in better standings and gets him back in the top of the overall rankings. And we can take a look at the review here really quickly. So Marcel, That first pocket was a 4-hit pocket. I countered them with the drops here. Up goes the axe, in goes the board. That first board was actually really nice. Look at the angle he's got there. Barely any sag at all. He did have a 4-hit second pocket, but he almost looked like he was second-guessing that second pocket as he put his board in place, but he felt confident enough to get on it. But to be honest with you, neither of these two guys had a really optimal second board. They were both a little bit flat, a little bit saggy, so they had to choke up on the axe and step closer to the block. But Marcel Dupuis just putting everything into it, and there you see it was the follow-through, and he just didn't have anywhere to go, and luckily that block that came off the top wasn't in his way when he came down, or that could have been a major ankle injury. Look at this. Yep. And boy, the power in his legs, though, jumping down from 2 meters up. Hello? With that razor-sharp
Is he a free runner as well?
Axe. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What do they call it in French? Parkour?
Parkour, yeah. I was just missing that roll at the end, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, or the Hong Kong twist, you know?
Yeah.
Flip and twist in the air. All right, so look at that. What a great time by Marcel Dupuis. And again, my Canadian pride rises in my chest to see that. Koen Martin still second place here. And one more heat to go with Jason Lentz and Martin Komarek, who are sitting in 4th and 5th place at the moment. Marcel Dupuis moves back up into the top spot with Ferry Swan in 2nd place. So great job by these guys so far, and the action continues to get better and better.
And you know, like you said, they are improving and improving. And what do you need to improve? A trainings camp.
Yeah.
And we had one this week, so
yes,
take a closer look at this. No wonder these guys are so good.
Yeah, I mean, training camps help everybody, right? So Springboard heat number 4, Jason Lentz up against Martin Komarek. Couple of big boys here. Martin Komarek's personal best is a really solid 42.96. So
that is solid indeed.
That is definitely solid. Jason Lentz's personal best I don't have here, but for the lead, he needs a 108.42. That's being the overall lead, by the way.
And the funny thing is, for the lead, they both need a 108.42 at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, Martin Komarek has the advantage of so many years of experience with this particular discipline. The other thing that's nice that we mentioned in several other shows is that the rookie competitions now have Springboard in the mix, so that they're not quite such a shock coming in like these guys had back in the day. So here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
That's
Taking
6
his
hits.
time, huh?
That's 6 hits for Martin Komarek. I think Jason Lentz actually had it in 4, maybe just 5. Lentz get that second board in. This is the key board for him now. He needs to get up there. I want to see that angle. Yeah, Jason Lentz has got a pretty good angle. So does Martin Komarek, though. And those are, I guess, going to say about as optimal as it gets. Both of them up there at the 2-meter mark with those axes. Lentz's board is starting to sag a little bit. He's got to be careful there. Martin Komarek's got a second board that's really solid. Lentz has got the power, though. Can he get through there? Komarek has moved over to the other side of his. Lentz now moved over to the other side of his as well. Oh, it's going to be a good one for Martin Komarek. Oh, yeah. 51.52 to 51.82, and that is a personal best for Jason Lentz with a bullet. Nice job by both of those guys. Really fantastic times. And Marcel Dupuis, I'm really sorry, buddy, but your time just got blasted by 7.82 seconds. Unbelievable effort by these two guys in that final heat. And that means Martin Komarek or Jason Lentz, one or the other, should move to the top of the overall ranking. I believe it's going to be
by
Komarek.
1 point.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Jason Lentz with the personal best. Martin Komarek taking the win in the springboard.
Okay, congratulations. Both cuts are good.
Love those personal bests. Just love them. So Jason Lentz with a fantastic effort there on the springboard. And it is, I mean, there's so many things going on with that particular discipline. You know, you got to set the pockets, you got to have the angles right. If the angle isn't correct, then you're going to have that mindset of, oh, things are wiggling around too much. You don't have a solid positioning up there. So, yeah, it's a bit of a scary situation if you're not feeling 100% confident. But both of these guys look absolutely fantastic up there.
So how this
wow,
Komarek?
Look how close was that? Let me find out here.
I can't believe this man. He's been on this top level for so many years, season for season, and he's rocking the individual world championships again. He's in the lead before we go into the hot saw, and that is absolutely fantastic.
Sorry, I aged him by 5 years. He's 44 years old.
What a man.
Awesome.
Bam.
And that's what positivity will get you right there, you know? Stay positive, stay smiling, stay relaxed, and you can do good things with it.
That is so very impressive.
It can change the world. It changed his world, as we see. So springboard, Martin Komarek with an amazing season's best 51.22, so that would be a national record for him. Jason Lentz with a personal best of 51.55, really close together. And look at that. Komarek, Lentz, Dupuis, 1, 2, 3, Ferry Swan, Puy-Barré, 4 and 5, and Mika Dubicki in position number 6. Hey.
And we just seen Severin Bühler just not making it to the hot saw, and Elise is standing right next to him. I'm wondering, has he a smile in his face, or is he very disappointed? We'll find out in just a moment.
Hi, Severin. Danke, dass wir dich interviewen dürfen. Das war das erste Mal bei den Einzelweltmeisterschaften. Trotzdem super, super gemacht. Wir wissen alle, es ist ein großer Druck. Kannst du uns vielleicht so ein bisschen über das erste Erlebnis erzählen?
Ja, es ist natürlich heute, wie du gesagt hast, einen großen Druck, da man das eigene Land vertreten darf an einer Weltmeisterschaft. Ja, möchte man ja eine möglichst gute Leistung bringen. Und ich bin eigentlich heute mit meiner Leistung sehr zufrieden. Ich glaube, ich habe das zeigen können, was ich kann, und ja, somit bin ich sehr zufrieden. Ja.
So he's telling me that, of course, it's a lot of pressure, but he's happy to represent his country, and he's pretty happy about his performance, and I think that's everything you could ask for. And thank you so much, and wish you all the best.
Danke.
All right, back to the studio.
And from Hop Schwyz to Kern Martins, who jumped into our studio.
Jumped, literally.
Hello. With a big smile in his face. You had a great competition, but you just missed the hot saw by getting 7th at the moment.
Yes, my goal was for sure to put a national record on. I think I hit 2, like the underhand and single book. Single book could be better. There's always a little bit pointers, but I'm happy.
Yeah, so, for sure. I mean, 2 personal bests at the individual world championships. That's something we all celebrate.
Absolutely. Yeah, sure. We love the personal bests. And obviously, we were rooting for you out there. What was the difference maker out there for you? Where do you think it was a little bit sour on the day?
I think the stock saw killed me in the beginning. It was like, it was not my favorite event for this season, so it's always, I don't know. We'll train a lot, and we hope for the best next weekend, next season. So it's always the pressure is on. They're the best guys in the world. What can you expect? You have to be pressure on, and then let's go.
Yeah, we saw you struggling a little bit previously in the season with the springboard. We were yelling and screaming in here because you were so close to being under a minute on the springboard here. It was just a thread away.
And I mean, I feel really bad that it didn't happen, but you had a great springboard today nevertheless.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. Could be better, but there's always the same story. But thank you guys to comment and give some good advice and cheer me on. And I'm happy. So now is the moment to cheer to the home front. So thanks to my wife again and all the people that supporting me. And it was an honor to be here. So thank you very much, everyone.
It was absolutely great having you, and maybe stick around before we go to the hot saw, because that, of course, will be the maker or the breaker.
Maker or the breaker.
Okay, we're going to analyze. We're going to have an analysis. I've been just told. Well, why not? You know, this is live. We've got Koen Martens. We've got Troy Mannering. We've got all the experts we need. So let's go for it.
Side by side. So here we're going to see Jason Lentz and Martin Komarek. I mean, these are the guys that were battling in the previous heat. What did you notice about this one? Yeah, jump in there and give us a side-by-side here.
You see, it's neck on neck. You know, it's always get a good hard pocket, very deep. It's better that you hit like 4 big hits than a little, just not much power in it. Big, deep, solid pocket that you can stand.
What about the angle from Martin?
Doesn't matter. You know, it or pros. It would be better to do it a little bit more flat. Then you have more the balance on 2 legs. But you know, they are pros, so it doesn't affect him as much that it looked. If you are just an amateur starting the competition and you have a board like that, it would be difficult to give your balance. But if you see Martin and Jason go, they are neck on neck. And they give all they have, so there's no problem for them. They're just going 100%. And you see, if you now see the block goes off, you see how so close the competition
but I've always
is.
thought that we were better to have a bit of an angle so you could push off that back leg for more power.
Depends what you like.
Pro or not, right? I guess.
The better is a little bit up, not too much.
Yeah.
That's what I prefer.
Okay, so I'm not lying to you, folks. I'm not lying to you. Proofs of the pudding.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. He's not lying. He's giving. If you start in this sport, listen to the comments that they are giving. So there are very good tips that you can pick up just by watching and commentators. So everything you can learn about the pros, try to do it at home after training with pros, not by your own.
Just not with this next discipline.
No, not the hot saw, but just pick the pointers up. There's a lot of information coming through, so pick it up and please start in the sport. It's amazing.
And love the sport, enjoy the sport. And this is the hot saw. This is the maker or the breaker.
This is the one and only discipline where the athletes are alone on stage.
Yeah, probably the most important event, but also the most frustrating.
These saws are so incredibly powerful and dangerous.
Usually the hot saw is your slider.
Hot saw, hot saw.
Like I can't describe to you when we're out there under pressure.
Saw starts well, first disc looks solid, cut is good.
You know, you're always ending the competition on a hot saw, so you know where you're going to be at when you finish. So you're either at a real big high or just is what it is.
Nice clean cuts, easy, relaxed.
Der Hot Saw ist für mich die geilste Disziplin der Welt.
5, 6, 8, Robert Ebner, 3 on the deck.
Hot saw is a love-hate for me. I honestly don't get that much enjoyment out of it. I'm not a motorhead. I swallow my pills and eat it.
Once the competition comes, anything can happen. Oh no, a false start by Sterling Hart. What a disaster.
Yeah, it was a disappointment for me. Happens though, it's part of competing.
I saw there's 3 good discs there, but then let that nose come right up underneath the crossover line.
Fortunately, a disqualification.
It all relies on the hot saw.
Oh no.
Irgendwie soll es einfach nicht sein. Und dann springt die Hot Saw nicht an, wieder mal.
Oh man, that is a bummer for Robert Ebner.
What are you taking away from this event?
Oh, probably last place. I don't know, headache. Yeah, shit hot saw. What else do you want?
If you have bad luck or if you did wrong, it's part, just your experience.
Oh my goodness, what an absolute disaster. The chain came off.
I
was not disappointed because everybody see that I can be with the guys in front.
It's a bit of a disaster, so it was just operator error, and I didn't perform as well as I would have liked to.
Nice safe cut.
Oh no! Oh no! Never prepared for that situation, but luckily I started and I got 3 wheels and now I'm the world champion.
Yeah, it's the make or break event, you know.
I think you love it and you hate it.
Das ist eigentlich immer ein geiles Ding. Ich schneide immer sehr sicher.
Oh, great start for both of these guys. Look at how quick it's going for Robert Ebner. Oh my God, Robert Ebner, he's got a world record. Holy smokes, folks.
Ich wollte das Ding heimbringen, ich wollte Weltrekord schneiden und ich danke meiner Familie zu Hause und alle, die mich unterstützt haben.
Just try to make 3 good cuts and no disqualification.
The hot saw is where it's all won, so that's the best event.
Well, that's the emotional parts of the hot saw, and here come the facts and figures of the tool and discipline.
These custom, handmade, race-tuned machines are built for maximum power and precision and to cut the wood as fast as possible in a competition. They are built with a 60 to 80 horsepower single-cylinder 2-stroke engine, often taken from a snowmobile or high-powered motorbike. The hot saw can weigh up to 30 kilograms and its chain rotates at over 250 kilometers an hour. The cost of a competition hot saw used in STIHL Timbersports is upward of 6,000 euros. Hot saw. For the hot saw, power saws are called into action and the athletes have a space of 15 centimeters to cut 3 complete discs off a 46 centimeter thick wooden block. Jumping the start or cutting over the line will result in a disqualification.
And here is the start list for the hot saw. Our top 6 athletes are in Heat 1, Michael Dubicki against Pierre Puberet in Heat 2. Sorry, Michael Dubicki, Heat 1. Heat 2, Pierre Puberet. Heat 3, Ferry Swan. Heat 4, Marcel Dupuis. Heat 5, Jason Lenz. And Heat 6, Martin Komarek. I'm getting a bit excited here.
Yeah.
Try. We also have something new. We've got the hot seat coming up. That, of course, means whoever is in the lead at the moment,
we'll be sitting on the hot seat.
Yeah. And we might see 1 or 2 changes. There we have the hot seat. Beautiful. Look
at how nice
comfy,
that Ford hot seat is, eh? Sexy.
Getting a final clean.
Yeah,
I love that.
And the thing that's different now in this particular individual competition compared to the season's competitions in hot saw that we've had up to this point is we've always, in the World Championships, we always have a single athlete on stage, but prior to this season, we've always had 2 athletes on stage. So now we're switching it back a little bit. It's going to become more exciting, which means that's going to be each guy has a chance to look at the next guy's heat and see if he can improve on it or
still focus on himself,
seat.
And off we go with Michael Dubicki. Whoa!
What?
I can't hear you.
I can't hear what you're saying.
We're starting to rock and roll here.
So let's not forget, hot saw's world record was set by Robert Ebner earlier on at the German Championships this season. But he is not just the only guy to make a below 5 cut. We had Jason Lenz also get under 5 seconds in the national championships in the USA. So, Jason Lenz is in the mix here in this final. A lot of people are going to be looking at him, but these machines are so finicky. Anything can happen. So we wish all these athletes the absolute best in the hot saw, and let's see how this all breaks down. Michael Dubicki up first.
Athlete, ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Go. 0-2 for Mikael Dubicki. That was a bit of a rough second cookie as he had a cutout, but he had to reposition and recut to make sure that he had a complete cookie. He does have 3 on the deck. Doesn't look like there's any cuts over the lines. Hopefully not. So we'll find out what Andy Hall says after the inspection of that block.
Okay, congratulations. The cut is good.
Well, the cut is good. He's collecting points, but of course his
second cookie was the disaster cookie for him. Otherwise, he probably would have been around 5.5 seconds. That's the drawback of these machines, though. They are so insanely powerful, and there's so much going on. They weigh about 30, 35 kilos. You know, the things are so powerful. All those moving parts, then you have to start it, you have to lift it, you have to place it, then you have to cut. All of that stuff happening at the same time while this saw is shaking around in your hands. It's a lot of wrestling going on stage in this discipline.
And again, it's those small things that make the big difference.
Yeah. It is those small things and just getting a clean cut. So 18 points so far for Mikael Dubicki, and our next athlete will be coming out on stage shortly. Mikael Dubicki sitting in 3rd place with that points total. So at the moment, Komarek and Lenz are in the top 2 positions, 1 and 2. Interestingly enough, Martin Komarek will be able to watch all of the action as he is our last athlete to compete in Hot Saw today. And Hot Saw, I mean, for him, it's a love-hate relationship. All right. So Pierre Puy-Barré, personal best of 6:32. He wants to try and get that down to around the 5.5 mark. If he can get himself a really solid time, he does have the possibility of taking on the hot seat. So let's see.
Has to beat Dubicki's time, and he will take a seat in the hot seat.
He needs a clean cut. He should be able to beat Dubicki's time with a clean cut. Let's see how Puy-Barré does.
Not quite as loud as Dubicki's machine.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference between the Rotax motors. You know, the Rotax motors are just beasts. It also depends on the muffler that's on there, or rather, not muffling. Remember the world record held by Robert Ebner, 4.87 seconds.
And if you want to see this live, make sure to join us in Gothenburg.
Oh, yeah.
For the individual World Championships of Steel Timber Sports
2022.
Absolutely. Seeing, hearing, feeling this with the live audience is just
it's
amazing.
A different animal altogether. You can see all the safety equipment that's lying around there as well. The specially designed pants to make sure that if a chain flies off or something flies towards him, he's protected. Goggles and ear protection, the whole bit. It's got to be on.
Oh, not bad, not bad.
Solid second cut and 7.51. It's going to do it.
Yep.
Let's make sure he's got all 3 cookies. If that's the case, with a 7.51, adjustment moves him to 7.40. That means that Pierre Puy-Barré from France will take over the hot seat.
Okay, congratulations. The cut is good.
Bonjour, monsieur.
Pierre Puy-Barré will take over the hot seat. I hope somebody tells him that he can come and sit down in it, as he seems to have disappeared towards the back. And the crew comes on stage to make sure that everything is good to go. Let's take a look back here. He took his time with the entry, but the cuts were clean, solid 3 cookies. And the thing I like about his cookies were the width in each one. The thickness was consistent through all 3.
And there he is, just moving over to the hot seats. I can see him from our studio. That's brilliant. And he's more or less sitting right next to us, giving us a wave. And all of the athletes with a big smile on their face, obviously enjoying themselves here in Munich at the individual world championships. So
yeah, and why wouldn't they? I mean, we finally have a major competition of the individual world championships where these guys can all get together. Of course, we're under the 3G regulations here, so everybody is either tested or healed from it or has their shots. So You know,
and
at this
tested
point,
every day.
And tested every day. So, yeah. Got to fulfill these regulations. And there we are, doing it again.
4 athletes missing.
So time to beat 7:40. Pierre-Puy Barré at the top of the ranking at the moment, with next up Ferry Swan. Now, Ferry Swan has been working hard on this discipline. He's got himself one incredible tool out there. You can see the different types of blades they have on that saw. Now, his blade is a little bit fatter in the middle with those really aggressive teeth on the chain. And I prefer, I mean, personally, I've never cut with one of these things before, but I've seen how they react when you've got that straight blade compared to that fatter in the middle blade. And I've talked to a couple of the guys, including Danny Martin, who's also got that fat middle blade. And it just holds the chain a little bit better. And this is something that we've seen, the chain skipping off in the past from those thinner blades. Not that it doesn't happen with those big ones, but it's less likely to happen. But what I wanted to say about Ferry Swan after all that rigmarole and blah, 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 is that
I was wondering,
where is this going anyway? No, what I wanted to say about Ferry Swan is he's been working this discipline hard, and he's become really adept at the hot saw, which we'll see right now.
Warm up your soul.
And the whole process with warming up the saw is to make sure that that motor has all the carbon blown out of it, that the motor starts warm. If you try and start a cold saw, sometimes it will more often than not stall on you.
Don't do it.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to have that, because that just becomes a problem to try and restart that saw for the competition. Because it is a, we'll call it a cold start, but it's not a cold start. They have to actually pull start the machine to get it going. So, yeah, and you can see all the adjustments he's making as we take a look at Pierre-Puy Barré on the hot seat. That's a little bit of a worried look from Pierre-Puy Barré, I gotta be honest with you.
I wonder why.
Yeah, because he knows that Ferry Swan's a solid competitor here. So, opting for a little prayer instead as he waits for Ferry Swan to get his 3 cookies on the deck.
Ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, 6.70.
Personal best.
A
You said
personal
it.
best and the fastest time for Ferry Swan, who continues to improve from event to event and season to season. He started strong as a rookie, and he continues to show his strength as a pro. What a great set of cuts right there. A personal best, 6.70, and he will take over the hot seat, moving into the top spot in the overall standing.
Congratulations. The cut is good.
All right, so there you go. Ferry Swan with a nice time of 5.8 after adjustment. So the official time has been changed.
Still a personal best.
Yep, 6.58, so it's a little bit faster. They always take a look at that because the timer stops after the saw leaves the third cookie on the floor, but they always go back and readjust once they've had their competition control really look through the finite timing, and those are really nice cuts by Ferry Swan, yeah.
But like you said, he's been practicing the hot saw very intensively, and
look at that sawdust flying. That is insanity. Those are beasts, those machines. Yeah, fantastic. Those slow-mos as well. Good job by Ferry Swan. The 6.58, a personal best, and the hot seat. That's going to be hard to beat. That's going to be very hard to beat. So Ferry Swan at the top with a 6.58. Pierre-Puy Barré, second place. Mika Dubicki in third at the moment.
Well, I'm not sure if that is a good or a scary position for Ferry Swan at the moment. He's in the hot seat, of course. He's on top of the board at the moment, but there's 3 more athletes to come. So I think we should talk to him and find out what he feels like at this very moment. Lisa is standing right next to him while he's having a comfortable seat in our hot seat. Ferry, Lisa, over to you.
Thank you. I mean, as I said before, you're it's amazing how fast you are. And you proved it once again, so now you're sitting in a hot seat. What kind of feeling is that?
It's an amazing feeling to finish off the competition with a personal best as well, so I have to be happy with that.
I believe that's true. So you think you're going to sit here for a little bit longer, or?
We will see. My time isn't that good, so they should beat it, but we will see.
All right, well, enjoy your seat. All right, back to the studio.
Well, very many points still to be collected.
Yeah.
And yeah, the top three that are about to come are, of course, the favorites for the title.
Yeah, but I mean, he talks about his time being not very good. I mean, Ferry Swan is a little bit too self-effacing in this case. That's a
Very
really
modest.
nice time. I mean,
Yeah, and a
super
personal
modest,
best,
yeah? That's a good time, and to be quite honest with you, that could stand for a while. Who knows? Meanwhile, Marcel Dupuis, who has a very strong hot saw, very well could take over the hot seat, but like I said, that 6.58 from Ferry Swan is a tough one to beat the way the wood seems to be reacting today.
And of course, there is 13 points that Dupuis needs to be in the same number of points like Ferry Swan to reach 59.
Ooh, math guy.
Yep, and in round 3 we have 18 points for number 1, 15 points for number 2, 12 points for number 3. So quite a big number of points that are being awarded.
Second place in minimum second fastest time to move in the top spot. He needs clean cuts. Be above all.
Warm up your soul.
No messing around there. Got that thing hot real fast, and he'll rewrap that pull cord, get ready to go.
And it seems like there's a lot of pressure on everyone that's sitting in that seat.
Well, you have to know that that's like, for Ferry Swan, his competition is done one way or the other.
True.
It doesn't matter what happens at this point. He would obviously like to sit on that hot seat until the very end, but, you know, he believes that there's going to be a faster cut. Whether or not that's the case, it's up to the gods now, literally.
And he wants to be on the podium.
Yeah.
But, you know, one of these guys coming up has to either not be that fast
trouble
or have
of
a
being the
DQ
second or the third athlete out there. You got 3 other guys that are going to come after you. So the advantage of being the second to last or the last is you get to see what the other guys have done. And at that point, it's all about just getting out there and realizing what you have to do. If you're one of the first 2 athletes out there, you're setting the pace for the day. So it's a tough job for the first 3 guys against the last 3.
2, 1, go!
Nice start. Oh, 5.47, a personal best. 5.47 for Marcel Dupuis. So he has just busted down the door, and Ferry Swan, a little bit prolific, said, okay, I think there's going to be somebody faster than me. Well, it's Marcel Dupuis if everything goes according to plan, and we don't have any problems with his cuts.
Do we?
Which seems like it's the case.
And that, of course, is a big shout-out to Jason Lenz and Martin Komarek.
They're talking to him here.
That'd be a problem.
Okay, there. So we'll find out now what the story is from Andy Hall.
Okay, congratulations. The cut is good.
Woo! 5.43, a personal best for Marcel Dupuis, and that means he will take over the hot seat from Ferry Swan.
64 points for Marcel Dupuis after this cut for the moment. But it definitely means that he has 8 more points than Ferry Swan, so takes over the hot seat.
And the hot seat has changed bottoms 3 times now, so yeah, it's getting interesting. And you know, like talking about the maker or the breaker really is the case here. So Marcel Dupuis has just set the standard at 5.43. Now we know that Jason Lenz can cut below a 5. The question is, will he be able to pull that off here today?
And of course we know that Marcel Dupuis from Canada is going to go home with a medal.
Yep, no matter what. He would like to have the gold, but
who wouldn't?
It's about the last 2 guys now, so there is a lot of pressure on those 2 guys, Jason Lenz and Martin Komarek. Jason Lenz will be cutting next.
Ah, look at those pictures, brilliant stuff. That is the original Extreme Sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at that, 2 personal bests off the top there. Love it. Love to see that stuff, especially for a good Canadian kid, Marcel Dupuis.
Fantastic level, yeah.
So if any of you out there are hockey fans, then you'll know Grapes or Don Cherry. He always used to really, talk a lot about the good Canadian kids, and his thing would be, good Canadian kid. And there you go. Speaking of that, that way to the beach.
Having
Marcel
a great
Dupuis.
time, huh?
Yeah, but you know what? The pressure is off of Marcel at the moment, so he just has to sit there and relax. No matter what happens, he's got himself a medal.
Big breath.
All right, here
Jason
we go.
Lenz coming up. And let's not forget, it's his first appearance at the individual World
I also forgot that
Championship.
he was at the World Championships before, but in the team competition, which unfortunately we don't have this year. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to bring that back because that's really fun as well. And I completely ignored the fact that Jason Lenz is participating as an individual for the first time.
And the chances of going home with a medal are not bad at all. But of course, let's not forget,
he needs to have a good cut.
Yeah. And he needs to get that hot sauce started, and there's a lot of things that can be happening in the hot sauce, as we know.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
So the pressure is on.
It's really, for him, traveling over, he's representing the United States as the top athlete from their national championship. So, not only is the pressure on for him personally, but it's also on him nationally for the results here. So he needs to have, at this point, he would be smart just to aim for a good, clean cut.
Warm up your soul.
These guys also have a very practiced hand at this, The more you train on this situation, the more you practice these situations, the more you're put under these high-pressure experiences, the more you're going to feel at peace and calm when this comes to this point here.
I'm so happy I'm not out there at the moment. I can really feel the pressure.
Hell no. I mean, that's for Marcel Dupuis, he's done. He doesn't need to sweat it anymore. He would love to have the top spot. But for him, it's just about enjoying
watch
the
his
moment.
face. I mean, he's still in agony.
5:43 is the time to beat by Marcel Dupuis at the moment. Jason Lenz, as we know, can cut under a 5. Does he have a good block of wood? Is it a melon, or is he going to have to fight through it? Let's see.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
580.
Personal
580,
best.
a personal best, but not quite as fast as Marcel Dupuis.
Fast enough.
Fast enough.
Yep.
Fast enough. So he will take over the hot seat, but Marcel Dupuis had the faster cut.
Yep.
And, some discussion going on here. Doesn't seem like anything
If
untoward.
Andy says the cut is good.
No, wait a minute. We have
a yellow
flag on
oh
the play.
my word. But if Andy says the cut is good, Jason Lenz will take over the lead with 68 points.
So they're going to video review.
Oh no!
Oh no, that would be terrible for Jason. That would be terrible.
Look at the graphics, look at the cameras.
Point to me? Why me?
This is what these high-speed, slow-motion cameras are all about here.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, it looks like we got the thumbs up, but we have to wait for the official call on stage from Andy Hall. And look at the nervousness from Jason right now. Oh my God, he must be sweating bullets.
Okay. After the video check, the cut is good.
Whoa!
Andy Hall is playing games out there.
Andy, we need to talk about this later on.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no beer for him tonight.
Wow.
So Jason
That's the
Lenz
second
will
best
take
time
over
of
the
the
hot
day,
seat.
and he will take over the hot seat, and it means Jason Lenz in his first individual World Championships will at least go home with a silver medal for the US.
Yep. Martin Komarek, though, he's up next. Look at that big hang he had way up high. Took him a while to get into the cuts, and then the cuts were finally there. And at the end, the cuts were good. The timing was good for the start. Had he been a little bit quicker to get that first drop, would have probably shaved off about a half a second's worth of time. Nevertheless, it doesn't matter. His time slightly slower than Marcel Dupuis, but fast enough for a personal best and for the hot seat.
And we've seen 3 personal bests in this hot saw competition. Wow. So who will win the individual world championships? Will it be Jason Lenz from the United States, or will it be Martin Komarek from the Czech Republic?
So all Martin Komarek has to do is get second place. He needs to get the second fastest time, and he will be the new world champion. So Martin Komarek's going to be analyzing this and thinking about it. You know he's a competitor. He wants to battle through on this one. So we're going to be crossing our fingers for Martin Komarek just to have 3 good cuts.
Yeah.
Above all.
Oh my way. This is unbelievable. And of course, we've got Jason Lenz in the hot seat now. And imagine the pressure he's got to feel.
Man.
You don't want to sit, you want to move around. Well, at least I want to move around. It's all that tension that comes into you. Oh my God, this is it. This is the STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championship 2021. Only one more competitor coming up, and that is Martin Komarek.
Yeah, I mean, Martin's, you could see his qualifications there, you know, top to bottom. He is one of the best timber sports athletes, and he's proved it this year. Among the nations in Europe, he is the #1 overall points-getting athlete, and this
3 times silver. No gold so far.
Yeah, bridesmaid, never a bride. Okay? You know, so this is the time where he's going to have to make it happen. We've seen him struggle with this discipline in the past. I don't want to jinx him. This is the time for him to really shine, and Jason Lenz almost doesn't want to look at him. Hey,
giving us a smile. Oh. Really warming up his saw, Martin.
Yeah, he's not taking any chances here. He wants that thing hot to trot.
Heating up the hot saw. Oh, go again.
30 seconds.
The pressure is mounting here for us now. It's
for everyone.
Not just for
in Duel, Munich.
Yeah.
I mean, just take a look around. You know, we've got a great view here to see behind the scenes, and everybody is just on their toes.
Even the cameramen are sweating.
Oh, wow.
All right, so this is what all comes down to our last competitor of the evening.
Komarek or Lenz?
Komarek or Lenz. Who's it going to be? Komarek needs to have, at the very least, a second-place run. Here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Is that going to be enough? Is that going to be enough?
No. Third place, the third fastest time. We'll wait for the check on the block and the cuts by our judges to make sure that everything is solid, but a 7:20 after adjustment puts him in 4th.
And that means in 3rd position overall.
Okay, congratulations.
63 points.
The cut is good.
For Martin Komarek, who wins bronze. Marcel Dupuis takes silver for Canada.
And Jason Lenz
from the US, the new individual world champion. Can you believe it?
Yes, I can, actually. Yes, I can. Great job by Jason Lenz. He came, he saw, he conquered.
Absolutely.
Bit of a rough start. A rough start, we have to admit. You know, we saw him struggle a little bit in that underhand chop.
That's the beauty
but
of the
after
sport.
that, it was all uphill for him.
Oh, wow. And I think he can already believe it, because like for the first seconds he was like, okay, what does that mean?
What?
What does that? The maths, let's do the maths, and there he is.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Unbelievable.
How about that?
I'm still not sure he's really absorbed it 100% at this point, you know?
I think he's
Let's take a look back here at Martin Komarek's cut. Now, he got in fairly quickly with a really nice thin first cookie. He paused a little bit on the upstroke for the second cookie. And then, yeah, he was just a hair slow, and it wasn't his day today. But at least the sauce kept running and the chain stayed on. I mean, a few of us have seen those chains come off on a few of these guys, and Yeah, this time he had 3 good cuts and 3 good cookies on the floor. So congratulations to Martin Komarek for third place overall.
Oh, great pictures here. And what a night. I can see you shaking, but in a good way, kind of shaking to the music, enjoying yourself.
I'm rocking and rolling. So there he is.
Oh, there's the moment. There's the moment.
So let's take a look at the final overall standings here and make it official. So Jason Lentz on top with 68 points, Marcel Dupuis with 64, and Martin Komarek with 63 will be our podium.
So let's take one more look at this final result with Armin Kugler ending up in 12th position and 13 points. Andrea Rossi also claiming 13 points, but just being a bit faster than Armin. Robert Ebner in 10th with 15 points. Elgin Pugh also having 15 points. Again, it is the time difference that makes the positions. In 8th position, Severin Bühler, who had a lot of personal bests today. Koen Martins just missing out the top 6, claiming the 7th place. And Michael Dubicki in 6th. Pierre Puberet in 5th, and Ferry Swan just missing the podium, getting 4th. And we have a studio guest, the world record holder in the hot saw. Robert, how are you doing? Wie geht's?
Good, thank you.
War, glaube ich, heute sehr, sehr spannend. Für dich allerdings ein bisschen durchwachsen heute, die Competition, oder?
Ja, ein bisschen durchwachsen. Ich war einfach nicht meine Stärke, deswegen bin ich jetzt auch hier, glaube ich. Sollte einfach nicht so sein, aber es war ein richtig spannender Wettkampf heute. Ja. Ich hätte Martin Komarek das wirklich mal gewünscht.
Ja. Ich glaube, vielen ist es so gegangen.
Ja. Als erster Europäer, aber sollte nicht sein.
So Robert said he was not on top of his game today, and this is how close everything is in STIHL Timbersports. He would have wished Martin Komarek after 3 silver medals to finally make gold. But that didn't work out today either. But I think everybody had a big smile on their face. Es war, glaube ich, für alle trotzdem ein richtig toller Bewerb. Und es war von Anfang an, einmal hier, einmal da, auch vom späteren Weltmeister eigentlich ein schwieriger Start. Also da sieht man, wie eng dieser Top-Level bei STIHL Timbersports im Moment ist.
Das ist richtig. Ja.
Wie fühlt es sich an für dich jetzt hier zu stehen? Was hast du dir vorgenommen gehabt für diese Weltmeisterschaft?
Gut, es ist ja heute mein letzter Wettkampf. Das habe ich ja angekündigt. Und ich habe mir es natürlich besser ausgemalt, mehr oder weniger. Aber ich war einfach nicht mal in der Stärke. Das hat mehrere Gründe. Und ich gehe jetzt mit einem freudigen Lachen daraus. Und wo eine Tür zugeht, geht die andere wieder auf.
Da muss ich kurz mal einhaken, wenn du sagst, dein letzter Bewerb in dieser Saison, oder reden wir hier...
Insgesamt.
Das heißt also, du gibst hier mehr oder weniger deinen Rücktritt bekannt?
Habe ich schon vorher per Mail. Und ich bin ja eigentlich jetzt dahergekommen, weil ich gedacht habe, das wäre jetzt Thema. Es soll auch ein Mitschritt irgendwie gezeigt werden, aber gut, dann ist es nicht so.
Nein, also es gab natürlich eine Menge Gerüchte. There have been a lot of rumors, Troy, about...
we heard all sorts of different things going on, but... best to get it from the horse's mouth, also direkt von source sozusagen.
So Robert just told us it is his final competition today, and he's going to end his career. And for us, it is kind of news, but I heard that some people already knew. Obviously, you must have talked to someone before, and I think we're going to get to see some greetings for Robert now, if that's true. Oh, yes.
Make some noise for our friend from Germany there on this underhand chop. Robert Ebner in the black, slabbing big chunks off of that block. And as you heard, this is one of his favorite events. He likes all the axe disciplines. Robert Ebner doing very well. Robert Ebner looking a little bit nervous before the start of this one, but this is a discipline he does well.
it's going for Robert Ebner. Oh my God, Robert Ebner, he's got a world record. Unfassbar, unfassbar. Und was für ein Weltrekord.
Dankeschön.
Wow.
Darf ich noch was sagen?
Tolle Bilder. We're gonna miss you. Wir werden dich vermissen, aber wenn du das jetzt so siehst, was löst das aus in dir?
Natürlich, ich hatte sehr viele schöne Jahre. 16 Jahre habe ich den Sport jetzt gemacht und konnte nach meinem Unfall 2014 nochmal richtig angreifen und bin froh drum, aber die Gesundheit ist mir halt extrem wichtig. Und ich danke der Firma STIHL, dass ich das 16 Jahre lang machen durfte. Auch meinen ganzen Sponsoren, Medialoop, Catlitz, Logosol, Schlotter, Endres, die mich die ganzen Jahre unterstützt haben. Die ganzen mentalen Trainer, vielen, vielen Dank. Und und auch meine Family zu Hause, die sicherlich jetzt auch vor dem Fernseher sitzen, mir den Rücken freigehalten haben. Vielen Dank und es waren richtig schöne 16 Jahre. Und ich werde mir es wieder anschauen, aber ich habe es vorhin gesagt, wo eine Tür zugeht, geht die andere wieder auf. Und ich bin gespannt, wo der Weg mit mir hingeht. Also es hat irgendwas mit Wald zu tun, auf jeden Fall. Und vielleicht bis irgendwann. Ciao.
Well, ich bin mir ganz, ganz sicher, dass wir noch viel von dir hören werden. Es war wunderschön, dass du heute hier gemeinsam mit uns diesen Abschied unter Anführungszeichen gefeiert hast, dass du noch einmal zu uns ins Studio gekommen bist. And a big thank you goes out from Robert to all his friends, family, supporters and sponsors. The gentleman of STIHL Timbersports says goodbye, and we're going over to the prize-winning ceremony of the STIHL Timbersports Individual World Championship 2021. Lisa, over to you.
All right, thanks, Marcus. The time has come. We'll start the official awards ceremony. Third place and winner of the bronze medal, representing Czech Republic, is Martin Komarek. Second place and winner of the silver medal, representing Canada, is Marcel Dupuis. First place and winner of the gold medal, representing United States, is Jason Lenz. And now, the handmade trophy. Look at it, incredible, incredibly beautiful. Also goes to Jason Lenz, representing the United States of America. And now, in honor of the winner, the anthem of the United States. right, guys. Champagne shower. Champagne shower! Do it, do it!
Oh, that's very smart, getting the trophy out of the way. That's what I would do.
Very good idea.
Don't want to mess that up.
Yeah. Got to enjoy that mess. Fantastic.
Awesome, it's right behind us. Yeah.
Oh, that's an
What a
enjoyment
night.
right there. Good job by all three of those guys.
And again, Martin Komarek, I just love the personality, you know? Just celebrating that bronze medal, having a great time.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I'm shaking. Everybody else is shaking. We're so happy. That was just an incredible, amazing World Championship 2021 here in Germany, Munich. And I don't have words. Back to the studio, guys.
Well, thanks very much, Lisa. I know one man that always has words, and that's Troy Mannering.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great competition. Who can argue that? Yeah, of course, we talked about Martin Komarek, and, you know, we wished him all the best to get to the top, and he was that close. But look how he celebrated. Like you mentioned, that third place, that is just fantastic. You have to enjoy those moments, no matter how they come to you. And again, he's on the podium, so he is so consistent, so strong. Marcel Dupuis, silver medalist. I mean, again, a super strong competitor, absolutely a monster out there. But the man of the hour walking into the studio now, Jason Lentz. Come on over and join us, Jason.
Hello, world champion. Hello. Put these on and you're ready to rock. Oh, nice.
All right.
Almost everything gone.
Need a drink?
Yeah.
Almost everything gone.
So is consistency the key today for your win?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't win any event, but I was in the top right to the end, so the point system added up and gave me the victory.
And of course, you called it, Troy.
Yeah, I made the call. I mean, 3 fourths and 3 second places in the competition, so that gave you the points at the top. You were sitting on the hot seat and watching Martin Komarek's last cuts. What was going through your head?
Don't cut below 5-7 up.
But, I mean, you got to be a little bit nervous. I mean, chomping the bit a little bit to see how it's going. You don't want to wish anybody bad, but...
Yeah, no, definitely not. Martin's a great competitor, so is Marcel, and it was great to compete against them and the rest of the guys today. Yeah, I'm glad to see them on the podium as well, and I wish nobody bad luck. So.
Yep. Okay. Now, I mean, obviously it's nice to have you guys all back in the mix and everybody together. You know, North Americans are joining us again. Hopefully we'll see you guys all back. One thing that Floaty and I realized that we've seen you at the World Championships before, but in the team competition, and this is your first individual competition. That's got to be a proud moment for you, especially, you know, coming from and being the only representative of the U.S.
Yeah, it's a definite honor to represent the United States. Yeah, I've been over here a few times competing on the team's race or whatever, and yeah, it helps to have those guys in your back pocket.
Sure.
I don't know, me personally, I wish a few of the guys were here to support and help out with gear or whatever, or yeah, be my bag boy. So.
And it looked like you guys were having a great time. You know, we looked over to you. You gave us a grin. You know, people walking past each other, competitors, but, you know, best of luck for you guys. Is that what STIHL TimberSports is all about?
Yeah, wood chopping in general is just a tight-knit community, family per se. Yeah, everybody wished me congratulations, and I wished everybody best of luck in the beginning of the show. And yeah, just how it ended up.
And he looks even stronger and taller. You're standing right next to him than on TV.
When you make me look like a pixie, that's when you know somebody's a big boy, right? Best of luck for the future for you. I know we're going to see you back on a podium in the future, definitely. And congratulations on today. What a fantastic job you've done out there.
Thank you very much.
And of course, you have to defend the title in Gothenburg next year in October. And stay with us because we're going to show you the best, most beautiful pictures of the day. And yeah, there's been quite a lot to watch. So enjoy that. See you soon. Bye-bye. Have a good night.
See ya.